Immediately, a novice gift pack appeared in Yi Chu's system inventory. Seeing this, Yi Chu finally let out a sigh of relief. Ding dong. Transaction complete. You have obtained a 10% energy commission. Current energy 1. Energy. Does that mean that as the boss I have to use my own energy to purchase everything in here? Yi Chu asked in astonishment. The boss may use anything inside the shop at will, but energy can be used to upgrade permissions. Once permissions are unlocked, a second shop will be opened. Yi Chu instantly felt relieved, so that was how it worked. If he had to pay for everything in here himself, would that not be utterly absurd? Ding dong. Mission issued: complete 100 transactions within 10 days. Reward 100 energy. As the mission prompts rang out in succession, Yi Chu smiled faintly and looked toward the other survivors. The fat man had been killed, but there were still 2 men and 2 women here. If each of them bought something, that would already be 4 transactions, would it not? Thinking of this, Yi Chu cast a rather ill-intentioned look at the 3 remaining people. However, the 2 girls were so terrified that they kept retreating. Don't come over, don't come over. Knowing they had misunderstood him, Yi Chu explained, aren't you 3 going to buy something? We don't have any gold bars, the thin man said awkwardly. No gold. That's fine. Do you have any other valuable items? I take everything here. Yi Chu revealed a profiteer's smile. The young man pondered for a moment, then took out an irregular crystal-clear stone from his pocket. And this is a... Yi Chu walked over curiously. First-tier crystal core, 100 energy. The system immediately gave a price. A crystal core. What is this? Yi Chu asked, intrigued. He had not expected such a small stone to contain so much energy. It was dug out from the bodies of those zombies. You need to dig through 10 zombies just to get one. It's extremely rare. Evolvers are all collecting them. One can be exchanged for 20 gene of rice, the thin youth hurriedly explained. This is a fine item, Yi Chu said excitedly. But all of you have been deceived. Here with me it can be exchanged for 100 gene of rice. So much, the thin youth exclaimed. That's right. As long as you can carry it, you can take away 100 gene of rice. Yi Chu casually accepted the crystal core as he spoke with a flourish. That's wonderful. The thin youth's face lit up with joy, but soon dimmed again. Walk. To where? The outside was filled with zombies. There was simply nowhere to go. Hey, I'm warning you all, I don't let people stay here. I close at 7 in the evening. When the time comes, you all have to leave. Seeing through the young man's thoughts, Yi Chu immediately pointed at him and warned. Just then, the bearded man who had been carrying sacks of rice suddenly charged forward, a hand grenade clutched in his hand. Before Yi Chu could react, the man stuffed the grenade into his own clothes. Boom. The grenade exploded. The thin youth standing nearby was so close that he was blown to death on the spot. After doing all this, the bearded man burst into triumphant laughter. Haha, so evolvers are that impressive. Can you block a shotgun? Can you block a grenade? However, when the smoke dispersed, Yi Chu was still standing there unscathed. Even his clothes remained intact. The bearded man's laughter cut off abruptly. The corner of his eye twitched. Terror made him wet his pants and beads of sweat streamed down his forehead. Trying to kill me. I forgot to tell you, I'm the boss here. In this place, I am invincible. With that, Yi Chu raised his right hand in the shape of a pistol, pointed at the bearded man's forehead, and said, "Bayou." The bearded man's body toppled straight to the floor, eyes bulging wide. Even in death, he could not comprehend how even a bomb had failed to kill Yi Chu. Inside the supermarket, Yi Chu needed only to move a thought, and he had the power to kill anyone. In the next moment, the spotless white floor began to writhe, and the 2 corpses slowly sank down as though swallowed by a mire, eventually vanishing without a trace. Looking at the clean, tidy floor, it was as if nothing had happened here at all. Ding dong. Transaction failed. The customer's funds could not be credited and have been transferred to the boss's account. There's even such a benefit. Yi Chu's eyes lit up at once. So I could lure people and rob them outright, then kill them, couldn't I? Warning: the boss may not use improper means to obtain funds from customers. Otherwise, all shops will be reclaimed immediately. The system's warning was like a bucket of cold water poured over Yi Chu's head. The skinny man just now had died by accident, so it did not count as breaking the rules. Are you 2 going to buy something or not? If not, get out. Yi Chu turned his gaze to the 2 girls. Please let us stay. One of them with big wavy curls crawled over to his feet, clutching at his pants leg as she pleaded. We'll do anything. Anything. Yi Chu crouched down with a wicked grin, gazing at the girl. She hesitated slightly, then as though making some momentous decision, nodded heavily. Are you still a virgin? Yi Chu asked bluntly. The wavy-haired girl nodded without hesitation. Yi Chu then turned his gaze to the other girl. The other girl's face remained calm. Instead, she looked at Yi Chu with open disgust. Rest assured, I can't afford anything in your shop, but even if I die, I won't let someone like you who kicks others when they're down have his way. With that, she stood up and walked straight toward the exit. Yi Chu smiled faintly and did nothing to stop her. But when she reached the door and saw the ferocious, terrifying zombies outside, she began to waver. Ignoring her, Yi Chu instead turned to the wavy-haired girl. Where are you from? How old are you? Do you have a boyfriend? What do you do for a living? You don't recognize me, the wavy-haired girl asked with a hint of disappointment. Recognize you? Who do you think you are? Yi Chu let out a derisive laugh. Those words left the wavy-haired girl emotionally shattered. Yet amid her disappointment, she hurried to explain. My name is Meng Chiyuan, a second-tier celebrity. I've acted in many television dramas like Love's 72 Transformations. Ooh, I was the lead there. Meng Chiyuan chattered on about herself. Stop. Yi Chu hurriedly cut her off. That's no good. It's the apocalypse. Who's still watching TV? Do you have any other practical skills? Like cooking, massage, or other services? Meng Chiyuan fell silent at once. Raised pampered since childhood, she had never done any of that. I can cook. Just then the girl who had run outside suddenly came back in. I'm from Chuanfu, and once worked as a chef in a 5-star hotel. Didn't you leave already? I'm not kicking anyone when they're down. If you want to stay here, you have to pay something in return. That's called a fair trade, Yi Chu said. I can cook for you. That's a fair trade. But you can't force me to do anything else I don't want to do unless I'm willing. The girl said, her tone softening, tinged with a trace of pleading. Everything you need is here. Go prepare us a proper meal, Yi Chu said, pointing. He pointed toward the seafood section. Fix some seafood. Oh, I'm quite fond of it. With that, Yi Chu paid the girl no further attention. With Yi Chu's permission, the girl could take anything inside, but without paying, she could not carry anything out of the shop. Right, let's go rest for a while. Give me a massage. You at least know how to do that, don't you? With that, Yi Chu took Meng Chiyuan by the hand and led her toward the lounge. This was a large house of more than 300 square meters filled with luxurious tapothaline furniture. Even the bed in the master bedroom was 5 to 6 meters wide. After walking in, Yi Chu turned to Meng Chiyuan and spoke. Go in and wash up. Perhaps it truly had been far too long since she bathed, for Meng Chiyuan stayed in the bathroom for a full half-hour before coming out. Come sit beside me. Yi Chu patted the spot at his side. Fresh from her bath, Meng Chiyuan walked over, a hint of shyness in her steps. One had to admit she truly was an actress. Her beauty was breathtaking. With her cheeks slightly flushed, her fair skin tinged with rose, she looked so alluring that one almost could not resist leaning in to kiss her. As she came to stand beside Yi Chu, a wave of fragrant shampoo drifted over him. Yi Chu could no longer hold himself back and slowly leaned toward her. Let me say this first, this is your own choice. I am not forcing you. If you regret it now, I can still give you some food, and you can leave on your own. This world has already changed. Going outside is just seeking death. I know that aside from this body of mine, I no longer have any other skills. I've seen many girls locked up in dark little rooms, tortured day and night. As she spoke, a faint trace of terror surfaced on Meng Chiyuan's face. I am willing. Compared to other places, this is paradise. Lifting her gaze to Yi Chu as she spoke, Meng Chiyuan suddenly threw herself into his arms. Throughout the process that followed, she did not resist at all. Before long, soft gasps and moans echoed through the room. More than an hour passed, yet Yi Chu still had not finished. At that moment, the girl who had been cooking walked in. The meal is ready. As the girl walked straight in and saw Yi Chu and Meng Chiyuan on the bed, her face flushed scarlet, and she hurriedly turned around and ran out. Another 10 minutes later, Yi Chu finally emerged with Meng Chiyuan. When Yi Chu saw the table piled high with delicacies from mountain and sea, his eyes widened. Impressive, as expected of someone from a 5-star hotel. Yi Chu hurriedly sat down and grabbed a lobster larger than a wash basin, taking a hearty bite. Without Yi Chu's permission, the two girls hesitated on their feet at the side, swallowing back their saliva. The girl who cooked had only tasted for sweetness and salt while preparing the dishes and had not stolen a bite. Now her stomach growled with hunger. The torment was almost unbearable. After eating for a while, Yi Chu took a sip of decades-old red wine and spoke. Let me tell you, in the apocalypse, there are countless things beyond your imagination. The supplies here are inexhaustible. If you want to stay, you must prove your worth. The two women nodded repeatedly. From now on, you will live here as shop assistants. But the premise is that you fulfill your duties properly. As he spoke, Yi Chu glanced at Meng Chiyuan. Meeting his eyes, Meng Chiyuan immediately lowered her head in shy embarrassment. Yi Chu's supermarket was not a place where just anyone could stay. If someone wished to remain, they had to do so in the capacity of staff. All right, sit down and eat. Once Yi Chu spoke, the two girls immediately sat down. During the meal, he asked many questions about the apocalypse. This world was not much different from the one he knew before, and their current location was also Huaxia. As for their present city, it was a third-tier small city in the northwest region called Yilan City. The infection there was severe, very few survivors remained. They had received news that at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, a small base located 100 kilometers away would have a helicopter passing over this area. All they needed to do was reach the tallest building in the city, and they might be saved. This city had a population of about 3 per million. The urban district alone held more than 500,000 people. In the other 9 counties and 2 districts, evolvers had established their own bases: the Miyuan base, 100 kilometers to the south, and the Shinfu base, 200 kilometers to the east. Further north, more than 200 kilometers away, was the Jingbei base, a private stronghold formed by powerful evolvers. Yichu knew that within such bases, people's greed and ugliness would be magnified to the extreme. In some places, society would regress directly from the age of technology back to the age of slavery. Ordinary people had no means to contend with evolvers. Evolver bases. Interesting. As long as there were people he could negotiate, after all, his little supermarket still needed customers. After learning all this, Yichu told the 2 girls to tidy up the place and then go rest. During this time, he also learned the other girl's name. She was called Fong Xiaoyu. Returning to his own room, Yichu opened the novice gift pack. Ding dong. Congratulations, you have obtained 100 energy. Ding dong. Congratulations, you have obtained the language skill, zombie tongue. Ding dong. Congratulations, you have obtained 1 vial of advanced gene serum. As 3 consecutive notifications sounded, Yichu broke into a delighted smile. By now, Yichu had accumulated 201 energy in total, enough to upgrade his permissions. His gaze then fell upon the language skill book. Zombie tongue after use allows communication with zombies. Remarkable. With the world now overrun by zombies, if he could communicate with them, then the world's resources could eventually all fall under his control. He immediately clicked to learn it, and in an instant Yichu mastered a complex and obscure zombie language. At last he picked up the vial of advanced gene serum. Advanced gene serum after use, there is an 80% chance of awakening an ability within the body and becoming an evolver. Yichu recalled the bearded man from earlier, mentioning evolvers, and he himself had seen them in films and dramas before. Some possessed immense strength, some could manipulate metal, others controlled time and space. In short, they were capable of almost anything. I just don't know what my ability will be. Unable to wait any longer, Yichu uncapped the serum and swallowed it in one gulp. At first he felt nothing, but soon a wave of searing pain burst forth from within his body. With a scream, Yichu collapsed to the floor, rolling in agony. Beads of sweat the size of beans dripped from his forehead as his whole body convulsed, curling into a tight ball. After about 5 or 6 minutes, the pain gradually faded, leaving Yichu utterly drained. Fortunately, he had just eaten and replenished much of his strength. Otherwise, that bout of agony might have caused him to faint outright. Slowly climbing to his feet, Yichu closed his eyes and quietly felt for any changes. In that instant, the ground beneath his feet suddenly turned soft, as though he were standing on the surface of water. With a mere thought, Yichu sank directly into the earth. It was pitch black beneath the earth, as though he had plunged into deep water. Yet he could breathe and speak normally. How incredible! Yichu walked about in curiosity. At that moment, he suddenly discovered a new entry describing this ability in his attribute panel. Earth Element Manipulation Beginner. Effect: can manipulate any soil within a 3-meter radius. Yichu tried moving toward the surface, but just as his head broke through the ground, a low growl reached his ears. The sun was setting in the west, its gentle afterglow spilling over the world as Yichu stared around in confusion. How did I end up outside? Once Yichu stepped beyond the supermarket, he lost the system's protection. Zombies would attack him out here. Looking up, he saw a ferocious, horrifying zombie lunging straight at him. Wait a second. Terrified, Yichu cried out. To his surprise, the zombie actually halted and let out a low, hoarse sound in response. What is it? To his astonishment, Yichu understood the words. The zombie was essentially asking him, what is it? This is zombie tongue, simply invincible. Yichu hurriedly spoke again. Are you hungry? Hungry. This time he could understand even without zombie tongue. For the sounds the zombie made were nothing but grunts and roars. Go pick up that stone for me. Yichu pointed to a nearby dead zombie. Although the zombie was dead, its crystal core had leaked out. If you give me the stone, I can provide you with food. Yichu suddenly thought that zombies could also become his customers. Upon hearing this, the zombie indeed picked up the crystal core and handed it to Yichu. Notice you have a new takeout order, please check. At that moment, Yichu suddenly heard the system prompt. Upon opening the prompt, he was astonished to see the zombie ordered 20 pounds of fresh pork to be delivered within 5 minutes. Wow, I can deliver takeout. Yichu was instantly shocked. Clearly the one placing the order was the zombie in front of him. The zombie's intelligence was roughly equivalent to that of a 4 or 5-year-old child, only knowing how to eat and attack. Seeing the zombie staring at him, Yichu hurried back to the supermarket and took out 20 pounds of fresh pork to hand to the zombie. The moment the fresh pork appeared, zombies gathered around. In no time, they devoured the 20 pounds of pork. After eating, the zombie turned around and looked at Yichu, lowly groaning. Ugh, ugh, ugh. There's no more. Go find something like that stone for me, and he'll give you meat. Yichu gave a simple command. If it were too complex, the zombie wouldn't understand. However, Yichu knew that zombies could evolve. If they evolved into a higher-level zombie, their intelligence would also increase, making things much easier. After hearing Yichu's words, the zombie indeed turned and left. Yichu didn't take this matter too seriously and then returned to his room. The control of Earth element made Yichu feel secure. Because staying underground, no one could do anything to you. Then Yichu turned his attention to energy. The crystal core brought back by the zombie was not considered a personal item. It was part of the takeout transaction between the zombie and Yichu. However, that stone could be exchanged for 80 energy points. After the transaction was successful, Yichu received a 10% commission, which was 8 energy points. Adding the previous energy, Yichu now had 209 points. Upgrading to level 2 authority required 100 energy points. After using it, Yichu still had a balance. Ding! Would you like to upgrade your authority? Yes. Upgrade successful, authority raised to level 2, opening the second shop, CF Armory. Armory. Yichu's eyes widened immediately. Having an armory in the apocalypse, what does it mean? Ding! Level 2 authority upgrade successful, gained the ability to use items from the shop outside of the shop. Hearing this, Yichu couldn't help but scream in excitement. Storing weapons in the system's backpack, wasn't that like carrying an armory with him? Where is the armory? I'm going to check it out now. Saying this, Yichu immediately stood up and ran outside. The CF Armory's large sign, 24 in size, seemed to scream that this was indeed the armory. Fortunately, there were zombies everywhere, otherwise if a higher level one passed by, it would definitely come to execute a thorough cleansing policy. Pushing the door open, a large shop was filled with a cold metallic atmosphere. The sound-activated lights turned on, illuminating a room of about 200 square meters with walls covered with various weapons. Wow, it's just like in CF. As a man, firearms have always been a favorite of everyone. Leaning against the corner were nearly 100 ammunition crates. Yichu curiously opened one. Upon seeing the densely packed round green grenades, he was instantly stunned. USB, this is the standard equipment for beginners. Yichu looked up and saw a cold handgun hanging there. A whole row was filled with such items. Walking back, Yichu finally saw his desired weapon, the AK-47. This weapon may not have the best accuracy, but its power was immense. Yichu had initially joined the team using this weapon. Indeed, back then wanting to join a team was not something that could be achieved casually. You had to undergo an assessment with the team management, and only by passing could you join. Back then, Yichu practiced his headshot skills with an AK to get into the team he admired. And this one, the M4A1, was on par with the AK-47. AWM. Yichu directly took down a sniper rifle hanging on the wall. Gently caressing the long barrel, Yichu felt as if he was caressing a beautiful woman with long legs. This sniper rifle was in reality a bolt-action sniper rifle developed by the UK with a maximum range of 1,400 meters. After seeing all this, Yichu continued walking back. At that moment, he suddenly discovered that there was a door at the very back. The door had the word hero written on it. Upon seeing this, Yichu's heart began to race uncontrollably. Could it be a hero-level weapon? In the CF game, there were many hero-level weapons. Yichu remembered this vividly, especially the first series that was released, the Fire Kirin. That imposing appearance which Yichu had to eat instant noodles for a month to afford. If the weapon he liked the most outside was the AK, then for hero-level weapons, Yichu was fond of the Fire Kirin. This was the first permanent artifact released by the game company, possessing the sharpness to pierce the battlefield, the Kirin Spike. Its overwhelming presence was enhanced by the scale armor coating. Thinking of this, Yichu pushed open the grand door with trembling hands. At the moment the door opened, a golden light shone from within. Wow! Yichu pushed hard, and in an instant the entire room scene came into view. I can't believe it. At this moment, only those two words could express Yichu's feelings. In the first position at the doorway was the Fire Kirin AK-47 that Yichu had longed for. Following it were the Fire Kirin series weapons released by the game company. Each weapon had its own display stand and was protected by sturdy bulletproof glass. The Fire Kirin bomb. One could see a golden Kirin attached to the surface of the bomb, vividly lifelike, emanating a golden radiance. Not only that, but there were also weapons from the King series equally imposing. Their power was even more incredible. If these weapons were brought out, they could easily annihilate any current firearms. Yichu lingered on each weapon for several minutes to admire their dominance and allure. Not only firearms, but also Yichu's favorite melee weapons. The Destruction series melee sword. The Dragon Master series hand axe. The Red Dragon series military shovel. At the end, Yichu didn't know how much time had passed. In short, all of this felt like a dream. Just then, Yichu suddenly noticed that there was another room behind this one. The door was labeled Fate. Fate? What is that? In bewildered, Yichu stepped cautiously into the chamber. A high-tech laboratory humming with silent sophistication. Several cylindrical glass tanks filled with translucent liquid lined the walls. Approaching a row of precision instruments, Yichu noticed familiar figures from the game Counter-Strike displayed across their interfaces. Spirit Fox Hunter Foxblade. Naichu scanned each name methodically, until he spotted Lan, his all-time favorite female character. Lan was the first Eastern female character introduced in the game. The moment she launched, Yichu purchased her instantly. Her alluring red Cheongsam had long haunted his dreams. A prompt flashed before him. Warning: characters may be cloned at the cost of energy. Clones exhibit absolute loyalty to their host and retain all in-game abilities. At the system's voice, Yichu's eyes widened in astonishment. Cloning is possible, and what stunned him even more was the discovery, buried at the end, of fully realized bioengineered characters. What era was this? The Apocalypse. And every one of these characters hailed from the game's own bioapocalyptic universe. If cloned successfully, their combat prowess would be unquestionable, especially the most iconic, the Jade Giant. Yet when Yichu glimpsed the required energy cost, he rolled his eyes in disbelief. Units, tens, hundreds, thousands. Seriously, even the baseline Little Red demands 5,000 energy points. Little Red was a biomutant born from infection in the game's biohazard mode, entirely crimson, writhing with tentacles and masked. Even standard human operatives required 5,000 energy points. Rare characters demanded tens of thousands. Unaffordable. Utterly unaffordable. Naichu shook his head reluctantly, turning away. Crucially, human characters could not be cloned repeatedly. Cloning could only resume once a previously cloned individual perished. This was no simulation, it was reality. Such a restriction must be the system's built-in safeguard. But this energy, Naichu fell into deep contemplation. Aside from commissions earned through trade, energy could only be acquired by completing system-assigned tasks. Then, an epiphany struck. Crystalline cores could be exchanged for energy. But would the cores he'd collected qualify for conversion within the system? Without hesitation, Yichu strode toward the heroic armory and halted before the fire Qilin AK-47. With mounting excitement, he lifted the bulletproof glass casing. The weapon settled heavily into his palms, its surface cool and metallic. What exquisite heft! And he tested its weight once, then strode out, unhesitating, resolute. Before departing, he loaded dozens of fire Qilin grenades into his pack. The moment he stepped outside, zombies locked onto him. Though fluent in zombie dialect, Yichu bore no kinship with them. Mercy held no place here. Indadada. In the fire Qilin roared, its recoil fierce and commanding. A single round pierced clean through a zombie's chest and kept flying, felling several more behind it without losing momentum. Whoa! Naichu jerked to a halt. How devastating is this thing? Nonly then did he glance down and notice something extraordinary. Fire Qilin AK-47, heroic, turn power 8 in rate of fire, 6 in accuracy, 5 in stability, 5 in piercing, 7 in skills. Qilin thrust, Qilin rounds, and equipped with a bayonet, the rifle doubled as a fearsome close combat weapon, brutal, precise, lethal. Moreover, its specially engineered rounds detonated micro-explosions on impact, causing wounds to rupture violently. Yet such power warranted only one word: exhilarating. NAS zombies surged forward. Yichu drew a fire Qilin grenade and activated its wrist string detonator. A crisp click echoed, then he hurled it into the horde. And boom! Na fireball erupted skyward, incinerating every zombie within a 10-meter radius. Even the rising smoke coalesced midair, forming the roaring visage of a fiery Qilin. Absolutely magnificent. Yichu burst into triumphant laughter. Ending. Congratulations, host, you have slain a tier 1 low-rank zombie. 1 energy. Ending. Congratulations, host, you have obliterated 20 tier 1 low-rank zombies. 20 energy. Just then another system chime resonated in his ears. Exactly as I suspected. Naichu's eyes gleamed with sudden clarity. Beyond transactional commissions, slaying targets yielded direct energy rewards. Crucially, this reward did not include the crystalline cores embedded within the target's bodies. With the entire city now abandoned, Yichu felt no fear of intruders. Hundreds of zombies infested this street alone. Yichu moistened his lips and activated his slaughter protocol. Ending. Congratulations, host, you have slain a tier 1 low-rank zombie. 1 energy. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obliterated 20 tier 1 low-rank zombies. 20 energy. Ending. Congratulations, host, you have obliterated 8 tier 1 low-rank zombies. 8 energy. The AK-47 raged, grenades detonated in relentless succession. In moments the street became a charnel ground, limbs-strewn black ichor pooling thickly across asphalt. Any soul who entered would retch violently at the sight. In short order, Yichu eradicated every last zombie. As silence descended upon the street, he prepared to move on, when a sharp clack-clack-clack cut through the stillness. Out of ammo, and he hadn't reloaded once. This rifle was supposed to be infinite ammo, yet now empty. Warning: energy depleted. Replenish immediately. and the system's voice echoed coldly in his mind. Depleted. Preposterous. I slaughtered hundreds of zombies on this street. I should have earned hundreds of energy points. How could it possibly be zero? He opened his attribute panel and froze. And truly, utterly empty. And what in the world is happening? Did you steal it from me? Nai Chu confronted the system directly. N. Warning: Host's use of thermal weaponry differs fundamentally from others. Why the difference? N. Host requires no reloading, but each round consumes energy directly. Others reload physically. Host pays energetically. Even so, killing one zombie yields 1 energy point. That's perfect parity. No net loss. Warning: each fire-chilling grenade consumes 20 energy points. Nai Chu's brow furrowed, then cleared. Of course, not every grenade killed exactly 20 zombies. Such negative net yield would inevitably drain reserves. And he pulled a grenade from his pack and tugged its wrist string. It refused to budge. So even level 2 authority has its limits, he mused inwardly. Though all armory weapons were accessible, each demanded energy to operate. And that energy was the price of power. And still this revelation held promise: energy could be harvested, not just spent, through combat. Yi Chu returned to the mega supermarket and summoned Meng Qiyuan and Fang Xiaoyu. And you too, collect every crystalline stone you see. Understood? He harbored no illusions of chivalry. This is the apocalypse. If you wish to survive under my protection, you must confront your deepest fears without hesitation. Hesitation makes you useless. Useless makes you dead weight. And dead weight gets discarded. His words shattered the girl's inner worlds, irrevocably, utterly transformed. Leaving the 2 girls in charge, Yi Chu returned to the armory. There he indeed discovered mountains of ammunition crates stacked high. Ammunition consumption was substantial, but replenishment was automatic once depleted, so Yi Chu felt no concern. He selected 1 representative weapon from each category in the hero armory. These included the Hua Qilin AK rifle, the Qilong Barrett sniper rifle, and the Bao Lei Gatling heavy machine gun. He also took the Yulong revolver pistol, the Yulong battle axe, and the Hui Mie Malay sword for close combat, alongside submachine guns, shotguns, and throwable ordnance. Finally, Yi Chu's gaze settled upon a weapon housed solely in the standard armory, a weapon conspicuously absent from the hero armory. It was a rocket launcher. Each rocket shell cost 100 energy points, a formidable tool more than sufficient to dismantle enemy helicopters. Additionally, Yi Chu retrieved bulletproof vests and protective helmets. Under the system's influence, they instantly adhered to his body, yet remained entirely invisible beneath his clothing. Having gathered everything, Yi Chu stepped out satisfied. Though costly, the acquisition delivered profound peace of mind. Next, he needed to establish trade routes across all neighboring territories. Yet before that, one task demanded immediate attention: the complete eradication of all survivors in Yulin City. A survivor-free Yulin City would become for Yi Chu a natural fortress. Zombies roamed everywhere, serving ironically as his unwitting sentinels. With such guardians patrolling the streets, he need not fear intrusion. Though the system shop itself was impervious to assault, evolved beings had already emerged, and who could predict what aberrations might arise? On television, Yi Chu had witnessed fire-breathing entities, lightning wielders, even spatial teleporters. Back at the supermarket, Meng Qiyuan and Fang Xiaoyu had returned, drenched in dried blood and visibly drained, their pallor betraying repeated bouts of nausea. Nonetheless, they had fulfilled Yi Chu's directive, retrieving every crystal core. Go ahead, clean yourselves up. Yi Chu waved dismissively, then began cleansing the crystals. After sorting, he counted over 50 cores. Production yield is quite promising, he murmured approvingly. Even low-tier level 1 zombies yielded this many cores, an auspicious stroke of fortune. Yet the energy value per core remained modest, some barely registering 10 points. Still, these 50-odd cores collectively granted Yi Chu 1,200 energy points. After changing clothes, Fang Xiaoyu hurried to prepare dinner. Meng Qiyuan, glancing around, helplessly followed to lend whatever assistance she could. Following dinner, Yi Chu instructed them to rest. Just before they departed, however, he added quietly, "My door will remain open." Then he turned and left. According to their report, a rescue aircraft from Mi Yuan base would arrive at dawn. Yi Chu had already resolved to leave sooner rather than later, and this flight offered the perfect opportunity to visit Mi Yuan base. He wished to see at last what the world beyond truly looked like. Sleep eluded him that night. He lay awake, turning restlessly, his thoughts consumed by tomorrow's plans. Suddenly his ears twitched. He heard footsteps approaching. A sly, predatory smile curled across his lips. The room was pitch dark. Yi Chu only sensed a smooth, warm body slipping beneath the covers. "Come forth." At dawn, Yi Chu found himself alone. Gazing at the empty pillow beside him, he sighed wryly, only to freeze upon lifting the quilt. A vivid crimson flower bloomed across the sheet. Strange. This is her second time. Why does it still occur? Puzzled, Yichu washed and dressed, then headed to the dining area. There he noticed something distinctly off about Feng Xiaoyu. "Are you unwell?" he asked, stepping closer with quiet concern. I'm fine." Her cheeks flushed crimson as she hastily carried away the breakfast tray. Watching her stiff, awkward gait, Yichu suddenly understood. After breakfast, he stepped outside. Then, after brief inquiry, made his way toward the city's tallest structure. "Let's go." With a single leap, Yichu plunged headfirst into the earth like a diver entering water. Though he could communicate with zombies, their intellect was pitifully low. Driven solely by instinct to attack and devour, they posed an unpredictable hindrance. To avoid delaying the aircraft, Yichu employed Earth Elemental control, burrowing underground toward the nearby hotel. This hotel had once been a 5-star establishment. When the apocalypse struck, many assumed its reinforced structure would offer unparalleled safety and exceptional living conditions, even as a shelter. Alas, far too many shared that belief. The hotel soon teemed with zombies. To reach the top floor, Yichu would have to ascend via the internal staircase. To avoid drawing additional zombies with gunfire, he swapped his weapon for the silenced M4A1, Shamo Lord. Gleaming gold and studded with brilliant diamonds, the M4A1 exuded regal authority the moment it rested in his palm. Bang! A muffled report echoed. The first zombie crumpled. Slaying one yielded 1 energy point. Firing 1 bullet consumed 1 energy point. So long as Yichu avoided wasted shots, his net energy expenditure remained neutral. Ascending swiftly, he reached the 7th floor. Strange. Why are there no zombies here? Perplexed, he paused at the stairwell entrance. The 7th floor housed the hotel's residential dining hall. Yichu stood motionless at the threshold, scanning the vast, silent chamber, utterly devoid of zombies. Where anomalies arose, danger inevitably followed. Weapon drawn, Yichu advanced cautiously into the darkness. Creak. His foot brushed against a chair. Huh. A hoarse, guttural cry erupted from the blackness. Yichu switched on his flashlight, only to catch a fleeting shadow vanishing into the gloom. What is that? His nerves snapped taut. Bullets flew from his barrel without regard for energy cost, wild, desperate volleys piercing the dark. Then, a wet, fleshy thud. Yichu recoiled, then hurled in a flashbang grenade. Moments earlier, he had already donned his protective goggles. Brilliant white light flooded the hall. In that instant, Yichu beheld the creature clearly, a colossal, rotting mass of flesh. Once human, now grotesquely swollen. Tattered chef's attire clung to its decaying frame. Warning: target classified as Tier 2, low-rank rotting corpse. Instantly, its profile materialized in Yichu's mind. Rotting corpse, Tier 2, low-rank ability, rotting flesh absorbs 70 of physical damage. Upon seeing the rotting corpse, Yichu understood why there were no zombies around. The higher the level of the zombie, the stronger their domain consciousness. Moreover, this creature could withstand 70% of physical damage. In other words, the gun in my hand is useless. Yichu glanced at it, and then put away the M4A1. If physical damage was ineffective, that meant all the weapons in hand were also useless. Wait. Yichu suddenly paused, and took out a uniquely shaped short sword. This short sword had a bizarre design, exuding an aura of malevolence. At the front of the hilt, there was an evil eye. This was not merely a decoration. This weapon was designed by the game company for use in the challenge mode. It was called the Chronos lightsaber. This weapon possessed a formidable skill in the challenge mode, which was the eye on the blade. In challenge mode, when this sword was held horizontally, it could unleash a surge of flames from the eye. Looking down at the eerie short sword, Yichu was immediately captivated by that eye. The eye was incredibly strange, and Yichu stared at it intently, seemingly oblivious to the dangers around him. Warning: mental influence detected, automatic disconnection activated. The system's voice echoed in his mind, and Yichu quickly regained his senses. Boom. At that moment, the rotting corpse rolled towards Yichu like a tumbling meatball. Thud. Yichu was sent flying and crashed hard against the wall. It felt as if his internal organs had shifted. Struggling to his feet, Yichu looked at the Chronos lightsaber in his hand. Chronos lightsaber, heroic grade. Power 9. Penetration 8. Sharpness 9. Skill: blood piercer, pierces the target, causing an unhealable wound. Chronos eye unleashes a flame that burns the target for 5 seconds, causing a lasting burn effect for 3 minutes, cannot be extinguished. Chronos eye. Yichu held the sword horizontally in front of his chest, and the evil eye on the blade suddenly turned crimson. Immediately afterward, a wave of intense heat surged forth. Boom. A torrent of flames erupted, illuminating the entire hall. Yichu quickly aimed the flames at the rotting corpse. The flames surged, immediately igniting upon contact with the corpse. Sizzle. The rotting corpse emitted the sounds of meat roasting. Roar. The corpse writhed in pain, rolling on the ground, but no matter how it rolled, it could not extinguish the flames engulfing it. After 5 seconds, the Chronos lightsaber ceased spewing flames, but the fire on the corpse continued to burn fiercely. Ding! Congratulations, host, for killing a second-tier low-level zombie, earning 100 energy points. Once the flames had completely died down, Yichu slowly approached. The corpse had been reduced to a blackened husk, and Yichu rummaged through it to find a second-tier crystal core. This item had nothing to do with the system and was directly stowed away by Yichu. Looking at the crystal core, Yichu's eyes lit up. Second-tier crystal core with 200 energy points. The energy value of a second-tier crystal core could reach between 100 and 500, depending on the strength of the zombie. Clearly, this rotting corpse was among the top tier of first-level low zombies. Moreover, it seemed it was on the verge of breaking through to become a second-tier mid-level zombie. Having dealt with this major trouble, Yichu took out a medical kit and performed a simple bandage, then immediately made his way to the top floor. Upon reaching the top floor, Yichu found that the door had been barricaded. It seemed that survivors had been forced to the top floor by zombies in the past, and the door had been blocked from the outside. However, this was quite simple for Yichu. He directly took out a grenade and tossed it over. With a loud boom, the door was blown open. Upon entering the top floor, Yichu saw numerous corpses. These corpses were intact and had not been contaminated. Yichu immediately thought that these people might have starved to death here. Afterward, Yichu barricaded the door, took out a white conspicuous flag, and sat down to wait. However, to ensure he could get to the Mi Garden base, Yichu also packed 10 grenades into his backpack. This way, when the people from Mi Garden base came, he would have something to offer them. Otherwise, if he had nothing, he'd just be a burden. Why would they save him? After quietly waiting for half an hour, Yichu indeed heard the rumble of a helicopter approaching from afar. Seeing this, Yichu immediately waved the white flag, trying to attract the helicopter's attention. This was the tallest building in Yulin City, and coupled with the conspicuous flag, the helicopter quickly noticed Yichu and began to approach slowly. A powerful gust of wind whipped through his hair as the helicopter halted. 3 men and 1 woman descended from the helicopter, and upon seeing Yichu, their brows furrowed. This was because Yichu's clothes were surprisingly cleaner than theirs. Are you the only survivor? A middle-aged man in camouflage approached. Yes, I've been waiting here for a day and a night. You finally arrived. Yichu feigned excitement, looking as if he had found a sense of safety in the organization. It seems that Yulin City has completely fallen. At this moment, another woman dressed in tight leather sighed with regret. Upon seeing this woman, Yichu's eyes brightened. If one were to rate her on a scale of 100, she would definitely score above 95. Since there are no other survivors, my lord the envoy, I hope the Chang'an base can provide support to the Mi Garden base, so we can seize all resources in Yulin City. Let's go. We'll check around, and if we confirm there are no survivors, I'll report back and ensure support for your 3 bases. The woman in leather walked to the edge and gazed over the entirety of Yulin City. 3 bases? I thought we were the only base. The middle-aged man in camouflage immediately darkened his expression. You guys? Huh. The woman in leather sneered. In such a vast Yulin City, there are easily 6 to 70,000 zombies, among which are not a few second and third-tier zombies. Do you think your Mi Garden base can handle that? The middle-aged man fell silent and then asked, how will the resources be distributed? Our base will take 70% and your 3 bases will each get 10%. The woman in leather said with an irrefutable tone. Isn't that too little? The man looked at her with a gloomy expression. I'm not negotiating with you. If you're unwilling, you can act independently. With that, the woman in leather boarded the helicopter. Yichu hurriedly boarded the helicopter, but due to the cramped space, reluctantly sat next to the woman. A fragrant scent wafted over, making Yichu feel somewhat uneasy as he shifted in his seat. What are you trying to do? The middle-aged man in camouflage glared at Yichu with a fierce look. Nothing. Yichu shook his head and adjusted his backpack. What's in your backpack? The middle-aged man immediately became wary and looked toward Yichu. Oh, bombs. Yichu casually opened his backpack with a nonchalant expression. A green spherical bomb appeared before everyone. Immediately, everyone drew their weapons and aimed at Yichu. Even the leather-clad woman looked taken aback. Following that, Yichu felt a chilling aura emanating from beside him. In the next moment, his entire backpack was frozen solid. Don't be nervous, this is a gift for you. Saying this, Yichu offered his backpack. I was afraid that without bringing something you wouldn't accept me. Yichu spoke with an innocent expression. Soon after, the ice melted and the bomb reappeared intact before everyone. You could have some wit. This is a base constructed in a valley modest in scale, capable of accommodating around 1,000 individuals. The valley has only one entrance and exit, backed by a towering mountain, making it easy to defend, yet difficult to attack. At the valley's entrance, a wall made of massive stones has been erected, equipped with heavy machine guns, mortars, and other heavy weaponry. Upon entering, Yichu was assigned to the area where the survivors resided. Due to handing over 10 bombs, his treatment was relatively decent, serving tea and refreshments to the evolvers. Indeed, under the apocalypse, the strong hold the power. It seems we have returned to the era of slavery. Yichu sighed inwardly, a grand idea of reviving his homeland taking root in his heart. Evolvers are indeed formidable, but humanity's hope lies with ordinary people. Evolvers differ from others only in their physical and mental capabilities. However, most medical professionals, scientists, and architects are ordinary individuals. These are the true hope for mankind's revival. Yet now these individuals are enslaved, engaged in menial tasks such as farming and mining. If we could drive the zombies out of the city, or rather create a livable environment for ordinary people within the city, then. Yichu's eyes suddenly lit up. Understanding the language of zombies was not beyond the realm of possibility for him. Moreover, as an earth element evolver, he could easily establish an underground fortress. After spending 3 days there, Yichu used the food in his backpack to connect with many people, earning the trust of the base's administrator. 5 days later, Yichu finally gained access to the innermost area of the valley where the evolvers resided. He carefully carried in the tea and water. This is the core of the Mi-Yuan base. Through these days of observation, Yichu learned that there were nearly 20 evolvers at the Mi-Yuan base. That scoundrel Du Bingyang even contacted people from the Xinfu base and the Jingbei base, and they occupy 70% of the resources. A furious roar came from a room, prompting Yichu to lean closer. Who goes there? As Yichu approached, the evolver inside became aware. In a flash, a man with the head of a leopard appeared before Yichu. Immediately following, Yichu felt himself being lifted effortlessly and thrown inside. Boom. He landed directly on the ground. Looking around, he saw the camouflage-clad man from days prior. However, he did not seem to be the leader here. Who are you? A booming voice echoed as Yichu turned to see a burly, muscular man glaring at him. I am merely a servant to you. Yichu feigned fear and hurriedly explained. Indeed, he is the one we rescued a few days ago. He came back with 10 bombs. The camouflage-clad man elaborated. Yichu sensed the atmosphere using his system. The most daunting presence was that burly man, and Yichu couldn't help but glance towards a corner. There sat a young man in black eyes, closed in meditation. These two were judged by the system to be the most dangerous individuals. Chief, when I was rescued that day, I heard you planned to seize the resources of Yuan City. Yichu cautiously inquired. Do you, a mere mortal, have the right to ask such questions? The camouflage-clad man immediately became furious and commanded, take him out to mine. Wait. Yichu quickly shouted. If you want resources, you can come to me. I could be considered the last survivor of Yuan City. I know everything inside and where it is located. I even brought out those grenades, and there are many more. Hold on. Hearing this, the chief waved his hand immediately. Is what you say true? Yichu nodded repeatedly. The evolvers present suddenly displayed expressions of excitement. Yuan City is vast. Your so-called supplies are likely just weapons and food, and I know all about them. You don't want to share with others. Before they take action, we can bring the supplies back first, can't we? Bring in the tea. The chief's face broke into a wide grin as he granted Yichu a seat and served him tea. This treatment was indeed a stark contrast. Bring out the map. Yichu called out loudly. Although he appeared as an ordinary person before them at this moment, everyone regarded Yichu with utmost seriousness. The map of Yuan City was laid out before them, and Yichu directly marked the locations of his Huaran supermarket and the CF Arms depot. Here is a large supermarket. Someone once stored food from the granary here, and beside it is a large warehouse filled with arms. Looking at the two locations marked by Yichu, the chief sneered and waved his hand. All right, you can leave now. From now on, you will be treated as an ordinary person. No, you can't just cast me aside like this. Yichu quickly laughed. There are several third-tier zombies there. You can't get in. Yichu's words stunned everyone. I have a way to bypass the zombies and safely enter. Yichu knew that if these guys learned the location, they would likely abandon him, so he deliberately claimed that there were high-tier zombies. Sure enough, upon hearing this, the evolvers responded warmly. Really? Of course, but the specific method requires me to go personally. If I tell you and you handle it improperly, it will surely attract the zombies' attention. At that point, none of you will escape. Upon hearing Yichu's words, the chief fell silent. Yichu's statement made these individuals aware of their significance. But once they truly reached there, it would be up to Yichu to decide. If that's the case, then let us set off now. If you can truly bring back the supplies, you will be treated equally to all evolvers at our Mi-Yuan base, and I have gene serums here that can help you awaken your abilities and become an evolver. Hearing this, Yichu's eyes brightened. To convince him, the chief indeed produced a vial of gene serum. This gene serum was developed by the Chang'an Central Base. It is extremely valuable. Great. Let's set off now. The system immediately provided a valuation in Yichu's mind. Intermediate gene serum costs 1,000 energy points. The Mi-Yuan base has only 2 helicopters capable of carrying a maximum of 15 people. This matter concerns the development of the base, so all high-ranking evolvers have come along. Chief, I think this kid is a bit suspicious. Just before departure, the young man in black whom Yi Chu had noticed earlier suddenly spoke to the chief. Huh. The chief snorted coldly. With so many evolvers here, what are we afraid of from a weak chicken like him? The chief dismissed the concern, and the two helicopters flew towards Yi Chu's supermarket. Where could there possibly be a third-tier zombie? Whether there are third-tier zombies in Yulin City is still up for debate. At the very least, Yi Chu has never seen one. Arriving outside the supermarket, Yi Chu led everyone to the entrance of the China Resources Grand Supermarket. The leader looked perplexed at the sign in front of him. China Resources Grand Supermarket CF Armory. With such an eye-catching sign, it would be hard not to notice. Is this what you call an armory and a supermarket? That's right. I opened this. I am the owner here. Yi Chu smiled, and then swiftly entered. Once inside, Yi Chu was the king, the ruler of this place. You opened this. Are you joking? A man in camouflage approached and spoke. Did you not say this was the place where you discovered stored food and an armory? Why is there a sign then? You can't run a business without a sign. Yi Chu shrugged. Come and why are you just standing there? After that, the leader brought the young man in black, cautiously stepping inside. But after the three of them entered, the others found that they could not get in. Leader, the door is locked, we can't get in. The people outside shouted anxiously. You little brat, what trick are you playing? The leader suddenly reached out and grabbed Yi Chu by the collar, asking fiercely. However, just as he was about to lift Yi Chu, he found that Yi Chu remained completely unmoved. Moi. The leader exclaimed softly, but no matter how hard he tried, Yi Chu still did not budge. Sun Jian, a second-tier intermediate evolver, your ability is having wings and immense strength. Yi Chu spoke to himself. And you? Yi Chu looked at the young man in black beside him. You are the second-in-command of the Miyuan base, right? Xiao Pingan, a second-tier low-level evolver, your ability is to blend into the night and even create darkness. This ability is quite interesting. In the dark, he is completely invisible, and even during the day, he can create darkness within a certain range. He is definitely an assassin. Who exactly are you? The three of them became tense. Because as evolvers, their abilities are never disclosed. Yet now Yi Chu clearly knew their strengths and abilities. The reason I brought you here is to do business with you, to show you this. Yi Chu pointed to the vast supermarket. There is everything here. As long as you have money, everything in here can be sold to you. Yi Chu said proudly. Sell? Huh. Just then Sun Jian suddenly laughed arrogantly. In my eyes, there is only taking by force, no buying. As he spoke, Sun Jian spread his wings and charged towards Yi Chu. But to Yi Chu, this was just a situation to smile helplessly at. Boom. Yi Chu threw a punch and Sun Jian was sent flying. He crashed into dozens of shelves before finally coming to a stop. Everything here can be destroyed, but as long as Yi Chu thinks about it, everything can be completely restored. You can't take anything here. Ignoring the injured Sun Jian, Yi Chu looked at the young man in black. Xiao Pingan. Want to give it a try? Take whatever you want from the shelves as long as you can take it. After saying that, Yi Chu sat down nearby. Meng Qiyuan and Feng Xiaoyu came out, poured tea for Yi Chu, and began to massage his shoulders. Xiao Pingan watched Yi Chu warily. But seeing Yi Chu remain motionless, he suspiciously approached the shelf and picked up a bottle of erguotu. However, when he exerted force, he realized he couldn't lift the small bottle of liquor at all. No matter how much strength Xiao Pingan used, he couldn't move anything here. Do you have any crystal cores? Yi Chu asked. Xiao Pingan fell silent and took out a second-tier crystal core from his pocket. Upon seeing this, Yi Chu's eyes brightened. A second-tier crystal core has 300 energy points. It should have been produced by a second-tier medium zombie with a relatively high energy value. Do you see the price on the shelf? This stone can be exchanged for 300 energy points, and now you can take whatever you want. Yi Chu held the crystal core and said. Xiao Pingan hesitantly went to take the bottle of erguotu, which was priced at 20 energy points more expensive than a bag of rice. In the apocalypse, such luxury items are indeed pricier than others. Xiao Pingan touched the liquor bottle, and this time managed to lift it effortlessly. Do you want to control the Miyuan base? Yi Chu walked over and asked in a low voice. At this question, Xiao Pingan suddenly raised his head. I help you kill Sun Jian, you lead the Miyuan base, and we cooperate. You provide the money, I provide the supplies. Yi Chu fixed his eyes on Xiao Pingan. This guy is cold and ruthless, but in terms of cooperation, he is much better than Sun Jian, who is greedy. Or I could let others in, and you kill Sun Jian, giving the other evolvers a warning. Yi Chu continued. Xiao Pingan remained silent while the man in camouflage behind him had flickering eyes. Seeing this, Yi Chu struck out directly and killed him with a punch. After entering the Miyuan base, Yi Chu learned that this man in camouflage was a confidant of Sun Jian. Come with me. After doing all this, Yi Chu took Xiao Pingan through the back door into the adjacent armory. When Xiao Pingan arrived here, he was instantly astonished, his mouth agape. Despite his gloomy demeanor, he was stunned into silence by the vast array of weapons before him. Barrett rocket launchers, grenades. There's as much as you want as long as you have money. Don't talk about the Miyuan base. If you cooperate with me, you could level the Chang'an base. Yi Chu continued to entice him. These are just ordinary weapons, and after witnessing the ice abilities of that woman in leather, Yi Chu knew these weapons could cause no harm to Heidi revolvers. Of course, this excludes the hero-level weapons inside. All right, I agree to your terms. After a long while, Xiao Pingan nodded vigorously. Returning to the supermarket, Yi Chu opened the door and allowed all the evolvers outside to enter. Leader, are you all right? All the evolvers rushed over, seeing that Sun Jian was utterly defeated and ready to attack Yi Chu. Wait! Xiao Pingan suddenly raised his hand to stop them. From now on, the leader of the Miyuan base is me, Xiao Pingan. Xiao Pingan, the leader, is still here. What are you saying? Xiao Pingan, are you trying to betray us? A group of people immediately accused Xiao Pingan. But Xiao Pingan remained silent and walked up to Sun Jian. He then took out a dagger and in front of everyone stabbed it into Sun Jian's heart. I said I am now the leader of the Miyuan base, do you understand? After doing all this, Xiao Pingan looked at everyone else. Xiao Pingan, you are seeking death. Just then an evolver following Sun Jian charged forward in anger. As he rushed, he instantly transformed into a swift leopard. Yi Chu saw that this person was indeed the leopard-headed human-bodied evolver from the Miyuan base. Boom. Yi Chu took out a grenade launcher and fired a shot at that evolver. The grenade hit its target directly, turning the man into ashes. Xiao Pingan is the leader of the Miyuan base. Who has any objections? Yi Chu threatened with a fierce gaze directed at the other evolvers. The barely visible gun barrel pointed at them. These people immediately nodded, acknowledging Xiao Pingan's identity. See, this is more like it. Yi Chu put away the grenade launcher and turned to Feng Xiaoyu. Let's set a table. Oh, I want to drink well with my brothers from the Miyuan base. Even in the Mi Garden base, these evolved beings had never enjoyed such treatment. The large-faced crab and the thick-armed lobster had not been eaten since the virus mutation. Don't eat the staple food, you can fill yourself up with lobster. Yi Chu reminded the gluttonous, evolved beings. Don't just eat, let's move. Let's go. Everyone raised their glasses and clinked with Yi Chu. Yi Chu inquired about the timing for the Chang'an base to begin resource collection in Yulin City. In half a month, I think they will send people to the Divine Mansion base and the Jingbei base. Xiao Pingan replied truthfully. Yulin City is my territory, I don't want them to act recklessly. Yi Chu pondered. If they want something, they must show sincerity, but if they try to forcefully take it, Sun Jian will be their end. After Yi Chu spoke, all the evolved beings were taken aback. This was a veiled warning to them. Subsequently, Yi Chu asked many questions about the state of the world and the current system of evolved beings. In summary, there are currently 6 major bases in the country controlled by Yinjing, Modu, Jiangnan, Chang'an, Hainan, and Northwest. Each major base has a population ranging from 1 million to tens of millions, all rescued from various places. Currently, the highest level of evolved beings in the country is a 7th-tier evolved being in the Yinjing major base. Rumor has it that this evolved being is a space-type evolved being whose strength is immeasurable and no one has ever seen them. Additionally, there are countless smaller bases like the Mi Garden base. There are even larger city-level personal bases than Mi Garden base with populations exceeding 10,000 and considerable strength among evolved beings. However, some of these bases may not last even a month before being annihilated. Some are swallowed by other personal bases while others are attacked by powerful zombies or mutated beasts. Bases like Mi Garden, reliant on natural defenses, have survived for a long time. After a hearty meal, Xiao Pingan searched everyone and found all the crystal cores. Altogether, they could be exchanged for over 5,000 energy points. Yi Chu estimated and prepared 10 AKs, 20 grenades, and 1 rocket launcher with 5 rockets for these people. In addition to other essentials, he packed a plane full. In chaotic times, heroes emerge. If Yi Chu wants to become the largest merchant in the world, he must first have the strength to protect himself. If everyone in the world knew there were endless resources here, wouldn't they be besieged? Although they can't get in if everyone cooperates to eliminate all the zombies in Yulin City and just waits outside for you, wouldn't you be distressed? Moreover, the 7th-tier evolved being from the Yinjing major base, who is a space-type ability user, what if they discover a loophole in the system and come in? So the only way is to develop discreetly and conduct business low-key. Once he has powerful strength, he can trade boldly without fear. Relying solely on the Mi Garden base is not enough for Yi Chu. The so-called tripartite balance requires Yi Chu to reach a business cooperation with these 3 bases. Xiao Pingan will return. Organizing the Mi Garden base will take a few days, and Yi Chu must complete the system's tasks within these 10 days. Then Yi Chu turned his attention to the zombies outside. Back in his room, he took out the items he obtained from Sun Jian. Since the person was killed by Xiao Pingan, the items on him were deemed acceptable by the system. Otherwise, if Yi Chu made a move, it would be considered an improper means of obtaining. Sun Jian was a 2nd-tier mid-level evolved being, and he still had a crystal core of an evolved being within him. Unlike zombies, the crystal cores of evolved beings can also be used to absorb energy and carry the abilities of the evolved beings themselves. The crystal core was azure blue and earthy yellow. It appeared to be a dual ability core. Dual ability evolved beings are relatively rare. Sun John's death was somewhat unfortunate. System, can I extract the abilities from the crystal core? Extracting abilities will consume a certain amount of energy based on the ability level. Yichu had accumulated about 1,000 energy points through transactions with Xiao Pingan, which should be sufficient. Detection, the target is a second-tier mid-level ability crystal core, which can extract avian abilities and physical strength abilities, consuming 1,000 energy points. Do you wish to extract? Damn it, you won't give up until my energy points are exhausted. Yichu rolled his eyes, but still chose to extract. Then 2 streams of differently colored energy were extracted by the system and finally merged into Yichu's body. Since he was previously an evolved being, a crystal core of abilities also formed within Yichu. As the 2 streams of energy entered his body, they directly merged into the core. The immense energy fused, and Yichu suddenly felt a wave of heat spread throughout his body. After a while, the heat subsided, and Yichu saw on his attributes panel that he had gained 2 new abilities. Skills: Zombie Language. Abilities: Earth Element Manipulation Beginner, Eagle Wings Beginner, Strength Amplification Beginner. Yichu felt that the Strength Amplification ability actually granted him double the strength. Moreover, this was without using the amplification effect. Strength Amplification. Yichu focused his mind. He felt the energy of the core surge, and a tremendous power instantly spread throughout his body. In an instant, Yichu felt his strength increase to about 10 times what it was before. However, the duration of the strength amplification depended on how much energy he had. What a powerful feeling. Yichu immediately stopped the strength amplification. Following that, he tried the Eagle Wings ability. With a rip, wings over 2 meters unfolded from Yichu's back, exactly like Sun John's. The black wings reflected a fierce sheen under the lights. His back clothes were ripped apart, but Yichu didn't care as he walked out the door. Whoosh. With a leap, he felt weightless. Flying had always been Yichu's dream ability. Boom. At first, Yichu didn't control his strength well and crashed directly into an apartment building. Just as Yichu was about to leave, he suddenly heard a series of barking. Woof, woof, woof. Looking back, he was astonished to find a husky barking at him. There are actually live animals. He was surprised and stopped in his tracks. Slowly approaching, Yichu suddenly noticed that this husky had developed sharp claws and teeth. The husky growled warningly. Is this awakened abilities? Yichu looked at the husky in astonishment. As the virus spread, other animals lost their sanity and mutated. Yet this husky, without losing its rationality, had awakened its abilities. This should be called an evolved beast. Looking around, Yichu saw a corpse in the room. Surprisingly, this corpse was well preserved. It seemed that this corpse must belong to the husky's owner. Yichu wondered how many days this husky had stayed here to guard its owner. However, seeing the skeleton-like body, Yichu couldn't help but feel pity. Don't be afraid. I mean you no harm. Are you hungry? Yichu knew that in maintaining its rationality, the husky should be able to understand human language. He then took out a piece of meat and tossed it over. The husky immediately showed a glimmer of excitement, but remained cautious and did not approach to eat. Hey, this doesn't seem like the husky's style. Yichu chuckled, then took out a sausage. This time he took a bite of the sausage and then threw it over. Seeing Yichu eat it, the husky then ravenously devoured the food. Come with me, and you'll have meat to eat. After speaking, Yichu noticed the husky reluctantly glance back at the corpse. The husky followed Yichu. Its original owner had been buried by Yichu. In this world of corpses, receiving a burial of such high standards was indeed a benefit from the husky. Because of this, the husky felt at ease following Yichu. Do you have a name? Yichu asked upon returning to the supermarket. Wong Wong. Perhaps the husky was called Wong Wong before. From now on you must forget your past, and I will give you a brand new name. From now on you shall be called Huido. The husky initially showed a moment of confusion, then happily wagged its tail around Yichu. It seemed that it really liked this name. Huido is a beast resembling a dog from the classic of mountains and seas. It can breathe fire, causing fires wherever it goes. Moreover, it is entirely pitch black. Although the husky had a few white spots on its body, there weren't many. Unexpectedly bringing back an evolved beast, the supermarket became lively. Yichu returned to the house and took out the bottle of gene serum from Sun John. This gene serum comes in 3 grades: low, medium, and high. Each type has a different probability of awakening abilities for ordinary people. This is a medium grade serum that can be exchanged for 1,000 energy points, which shows how precious it is. Of course, ordinary people who consume it have a chance to awaken abilities. However, for evolvers, it can enhance their strength. Yichu is currently at most a low-tier first-level evolver. If he uses this serum, he should be able to evolve to a medium-tier first level. However, before Yichu could use it, the system directly absorbed it and converted it into its own energy points. What are you doing? Yi Chu immediately roared. Notice the host's cultivation can be directly improved using energy points. After the system spoke, a number appeared next to Yi Chu's attributes. Host Yi Chu level low tier first level 201000 shop China resources supermarket CF armory authority level 2 51,000 energy 1320 task complete 100 transactions within 10 days 5,100. Yi Chu saw that the required value for his level was 1,000 while he had only increased to 20 points. If that's the case, it's no different from directly using the gene serum. Who knows if it will hurt as much as the first time? Yi Chu shivered at the thought. Then he directly used energy points to upgrade his level to a medium tier, first level. After the upgrade, Yi Chu joyfully discovered that his ability Crystal Nucleus had expanded significantly, allowing it to contain more energy. Level medium tier, first level 02000. However, to advance to a high tier first level, a full 2,000 energy points are needed. Wait, can energy points be used to upgrade ability levels as well? Yi Chu hurriedly asked. Yes. Hearing the system's response, Yi Chu quickly opened the Ability Attributes panel. Ability Earth Element Manipulation Beginner 50500 Eagle Wings Beginner 5500 Strength Amplification Beginner 5500. The energy points needed to upgrade from beginner to intermediate are 500. Seeing that he only had a little over 300 energy points left, Yi Chu obediently closed the Attributes panel. It was still early, and Yi Chu took the husky out. The entire street was cleared of zombies. Yi Chu arrived at the street corner. Here he had blocked the way with a car, preventing any outside vehicles from entering. Hey! Yi Chu's appearance immediately attracted the attention of the zombies. In an instant, over 10 zombies surrounded him. Meat? Yi Chu threw a piece of fresh pork weighing over 10 pounds. A swarm of zombies rushed up and devoured it instantly. Do you want to eat? Yi Chu asked in the zombie language. Want to eat? A group of zombies roared, resembling kindergarten children clamoring for candy from their teacher. If you want to eat, go find me something like this. Saying this, Yi Chu showed the Crystal Nucleus to all the zombies. Or tell me where there are zombies stronger than you. Yi Chu inquired. I know. One zombie volunteered. Upon hearing this, Yi Chu's eyes lit up. Higher level zombies are much easier to communicate with than these kindergarten kids. Other zombies above second level are like elementary school students. Yi Chu took out some pork and gave it specifically to this zombie. Then Yi Chu followed this zombie, and with the protection of other zombies arrived at a nursing school. Money can make even ghosts push the mill, and zombies are no exception. With the protection of these zombies, the other zombies who were hostile towards Yi Chu were all swarmed and killed by these zombies. Let's go inside. Yi Chu led the way in, but found that his little brothers did not follow. My. Seeing the fearful expressions of those little brothers, Yi Chu understood that there were high-level zombies inside that scared them. Woof woof woof. Hudo barked anxiously. To avoid startling the snake, Yi Chu immediately told Hudo to keep quiet. Let's go in. To avoid any accidents, Yi Chu directly used the earth element to enter underground. In the underground, Yi Chu was absolutely safe. Moving quickly inside, he soon discovered the boss here. It was a sexy nurse wearing a nurse's uniform. Moreover, having evolved to low-tier second level, her physical form was intact. It seemed that after washing up, she could still be used. What the hell, how could I have such a filthy thought? Yi Chu shook his head, driving the dirty thoughts out of his mind. Yi Chu was under the feet of the nurse, and he could see a vast grassland above. The nurse was nervously looking around, but she could never imagine that Yi Chu was right beneath her skirt. Hello, little sister. Yi Chu greeted her from the ground in zombie language. The nurse zombie immediately shot away from the spot, like a lightning strike, astonished by her speed. Yi Chu quickly shouted, "Don't be afraid, I am here to help you." Even having evolved to second-level, zombies require a massive amount of food. Without proper food, their evolution speed would slow down dramatically. As he spoke, Yi Chu directly tossed out 10 pounds of fresh lamb. The quality of lamb is better than pork and is more alluring to zombies. Seeing the lamb, the nurse immediately pounced on it and devoured it voraciously. Before long, the 10 pounds of lamb was gone, yet her belly showed no change. Yi Chu understood that the energy from the lamb had already been absorbed into her crystal nucleus. So can we discuss this now? Yi Chu continued negotiating. What do you want? The aloof nurse finally spoke, but her voice was hoarse, only able to emit whimpers. Yi Chu cautiously peered out and took out the crystal nucleus, saying, I need this. You help me with this, and I will give you food. However, to Yi Chu's surprise, the nurse refused. Stones are tastier than meat. Yi Chu immediately understood that second-level zombies already knew to absorb the energy of crystal nuclei to enhance themselves. This poses a problem. Yi Chu suddenly felt troubled. Zombies could be seen as a barrier for Yi Chu, and killing them would expose him to everyone's sight. Therefore, the zombies in Yulin City cannot be killed yet. In the end, Yi Chu and the nurse sister finally reached an agreement. The nurse sister could keep a certain amount of crystal cores, but she had to exchange a portion of them with Yichu for food. This arrangement could ensure the nurse sister's satiety while also providing Yichu with income. What Yichu desired was the volume of transactions. As for the amount per transaction, it was of no concern. Finally, with the help of the nurse sister and numerous little brothers, Yichu fulfilled the task requirements in just a few days. Ding! Task completed, reward of 100 energy points. To be honest, Yichu looked down upon this reward of 100 energy points. However, the next moment the system's voice made his eyes shine. Ding! Task exceeded, additional reward, a big gift pack. Ding! New task issued, achieve a business volume of 100,000 energy points within 20 days. What a... Yichu had just been thinking that as long as he completed the number of transactions, that would be enough. He did not expect a task requiring a business volume to be issued now. 100,000 within 20 days. Is this a joke? Yichu felt speechless. However, soon after he had an idea. The last time he traded with Xiao Pingan, just a single deal had generated around 5,000 in energy value. If he could connect with the Xinfu base and Jingbei base, it would be much easier. These were all major clients with at least a single transaction yielding a substantial energy value. Yichu could take a 10% commission, meaning he could earn 1,000 energy points from a business volume of 10,000. This was much faster than doing business with the nurse sister. Thinking of this, Yichu felt relieved. He then took out the big gift pack he had just received. Ding! Congratulations, you have received 2,000 energy points. Ding! Congratulations, you have obtained the skill Zombie King. Ding! Congratulations, you have received a special ability upgrade reagent. 3 consecutive notifications sounded, and Yichu was overjoyed. 2,000 energy points were indeed an unexpected gain. Moreover, he also received a reagent and a skill. In this apocalypse, reagents were precious. When he opened it, Yichu couldn't help but smile. Zombie King can control all zombies below his own level. Those above his level will not attack him, and he deals 20 extra damage to zombies. This was clearly tailored for Yichu. As long as he could control the zombies outside, Yichu could have them protect everything here. Most importantly, zombies had low intelligence and fought in complete disorder. If he could manage to control them, their power would be unimaginable. Special ability upgrade reagent can upgrade any ability below advanced level. This was even more impressive. Yichu's abilities were all at the beginner level. He wondered what it would be like to upgrade to the intermediate level. However, Yichu was not in a hurry to use it. He could also upgrade his abilities using energy points, and it only required 500 energy points. But to upgrade to advanced, it might require more. Therefore, this reagent was best saved for reaching advanced levels. Thinking of this, Yichu directly spent 500 energy points to upgrade his earth element control ability. Yichu did not consider the other 2 abilities. The eagle wings only needed to allow him to fly. The strength enhancement could currently amplify his strength tenfold, which was sufficient for now. The earth element control was a life-saving skill, the more powerful the better. Spending 500 energy points, Yichu upgraded his earth element control to intermediate and then used the reagent to elevate it to advanced. As expected, reaching advanced required over 2,000 energy points. Yichu saved quite a bit. After the upgrade, Yichu's understanding of the earth deepened. With a thought, Yichu sank into the ground. Feeling the darkness beneath, he discovered that the originally beginner-level earth element control could only manipulate soil within a range of about 3 meters. Now upgraded to advanced, he could manipulate any soil within a range of 30 meters. Open! With a thought, Yichu forcefully pushed the soil within 30 meters aside. Then taking out a flashlight, he saw that he had easily excavated a space of 30 square meters, about 10 meters underground. However, the energy consumption of the advanced earth element ability had also become quite substantial. Looks like I need to quickly level up. Thinking of this, Yichu used the 2,000 energy points he had just received to elevate his level to first tier advanced. Level first tier advanced 010000. Feeling the immense energy within, Yichu discovered that to advance to second tier evolutionist, he would need a full 10,000 energy points. However, it was all worth it. After familiarizing himself with earth element control, Yichu realized that it could be used not only for building houses underground. It could also be used for attacking or defending. Earth Spike. With a thought, dozens of earth spikes suddenly emerged from the ground, piercing straight through a car. Armor. The ground beneath him surged, wrapping Yichu's body in soil, but its defense could withstand the impact of cannon fire. The applications of the earth element were diverse, and Yichu increasingly liked this ability. It's time to see how Xiao Pingan is preparing. Leaving the zombies to guard the house, he opened the street in front and let in hundreds of zombies. All of them were first-tier zombies, and under the influence of Yichu's Zombie King skill, they served to protect the supermarket. Then Yichu spread his wings and flew towards the Miyuan base. The Miyuan base had defenses against aerial attacks, so as he was about to arrive, Yichu descended to the ground. Who goes there? The moment Yi Chu appeared, dozens of guns aimed at him. Tell Xiao Pingan that I come from Yulin City. Yi Chu shouted directly to the people on the city wall. Although these people were ordinary, they were all former veterans, highly skilled and well-versed in weapon handling. Immediately someone went to report to Xiao Pingan. Sure enough, in less than 5 minutes, Xiao Pingan arrived and opened the city gate to welcome Yi Chu in. Xiao Pingan vividly remembered the scene where Yi Chu had injured Sun Jian with a single punch. Winning over such a person was crucial for Xiao Pingan's control of the Miyuan base and even the entire Yulin city. Is there any news from the Chang'an base? Arriving at the conference room from last time, Yi Chu casually sat down. Soon someone brought tea and water, serving him very attentively. We received news that Du Bingyang is currently at the Xinfu base. Xiao Pingan said with a face full of melancholy. Du Bingyang. Is she the leather-clad beauty I met last time? Yi Chu raised an eyebrow. At that time, Yi Chu had noticed that this beauty was a thorny rose. Her strength was at least above 3rd tier. That's right, it seems that the support from the Chang'an base has indeed reached the Xinfu base. Xiao Pingan explained. They seem to plan to enter Yulin City from the direction of the Xinfu base. Yi Chu looked at the map. It was indeed a location where the distribution of zombies in Yulin City was relatively sparse. After pondering for a moment, Yi Chu revealed an evil smile. I have a plan, and I wonder if you have the courage to follow it. I'm all ears. Xiao Pingan's expression shifted instantly, and he leaned in closely. Well, raid the Xinfu base's stronghold. At Yi Chu's words, Xiao Pingan's face paled abruptly. Absolutely out of the question. They're collaborating with the Chang'an Central Base. Taking such action would incur its wrath. Xiao Pingan shook his head vigorously. Tell me this, why among the 9 counties and 2 districts of Yulin City, the largest territorial prize of all, would the Chang'an Central Base deliberately choose the hardest to crack? Yi Chu sneered coldly. Hearing this, Xiao Pingan fell into deep confusion. Indeed, 9 counties, 2 districts, a vast expanse of land. Even the 2 counties adjacent to the Miyuan base brimmed with unimaginable supplies. Yet the urban core teemed with 50 to 60,000 zombies. Why would they target it? Unless the city holds something they desperately need, or this entire operation is merely a stratagem by the Chang'an Central Base to weaken independent local bases. Yi Chu analyzed sharply. During the Republican era, warlords fractured the land. Does today's chaos not mirror that very fragmentation? The world demands unification. If you truly wish to survive, you must grow stronger. Only strength grants you leverage to negotiate with the central base. Then even if you submit your oath of allegiance, you will stand not as a subordinate, but as an equal. Yi Chu raised his thumb high. Xiao Pingan's expression hardened with gravity. Yi Chu's reasoning held undeniable weight. Or perhaps the Xinfu base has already sworn fealty, and this move is designed precisely to eradicate both your Miyuan base and the Jingbei base, thereby imposing total control over Yulin City. Yi Chu's single sentence crystallized Xiao Pingan's certainty. Very well, I accept. At this, Yi Chu smiled, a broad, genuine smile. Though purely Yi Chu's conjecture, it carried compelling logic. Yet none could have foreseen that this very hypothesis aligned uncannily with the Chang'an Central Base's actual plan. More significantly, the urban core did indeed conceal something they sought. Yi Chu delivered another massive consignment of supplies to Xiao Pingan, crystal cores naturally included. Ding dong. Congratulations, host. You fulfilled a delivery order with a transaction value of 5,000. Bonus commission 20. My. Yi Chu's eyes gleamed instantly. A reward like this exists. A 5 Ethicand Energyvala order yielded an extra commission, 20%, granting Yi Chu precisely 1,000 energy points in a single stroke. Truly worth the journey. Yi Chu murmured in quiet satisfaction. Then he turned to Xiao Pingan. Prepare thoroughly and monitor Xinfu base's movements closely. The moment they depart their stronghold, strike. As for the urban core, it'll divert their forces. However, upon seizing the base, I claim half the spoils. Agreed. Xiao Pingan accepted without hesitation. Moreover, should the Chang'an base cause trouble, I'll provide direct fire support. To reassure Xiao Pingan, Yi Chu administered one final dose of confidence before departing. Yulin City housed over 500,000 zombies. Now under Yi Chu's Zombie King ability, all 500,000 were his loyal subordinates. It was precisely through this dominion that Yi Chu gained a precise, granular understanding of Yulin City's power distribution. Reports relayed by his subordinates revealed a startling truth: Yulin City harbored more than 10 level 2 zombies. Level 2 zombies remained beyond Yi Chu's current control. Even more astonishing, a level 3 mutated beast lurked within the suburban zoo, a creature wholly distinct from zombies, utterly indifferent to Yi Chu's command. The Zombie King ability held no sway over mutated beasts. Wait. Just then a sudden realization struck Yi Chu. They entered Yulin City from the direction opposite the Xinfu base, precisely the reverse of the level 3 mutated beast location. They clearly knew of the beast and deliberately circumvented it. Could it be that the urban core truly conceals something they require? Yi Chu's suspicion deepened. Yulin City lay roughly 700 kilometers from the Chang'an Central Base, 3 major cities intervening along the route. Why traverse such distance when those intermediary cities far more developed than Yulin would offer richer spoils? This line of thought only reinforced Yi Chu's conviction they had not come for supplies at all. Sandaji. Emerging from the supermarket, Yi Chu issued a sharp command, and a gaunt zombie darted forward instantly. Order all brothers to scour the urban core meticulously. Search every corner for anything unusual. In an instant, 500,000 subordinates surged across the city. With 2 days remaining until Shunfu Base's mobilization, Yi Chu had already launched his own search, well ahead of them. Inside the supermarket, Yi Chu had hauled in every volume from Yulin City's library. To unify this shattered world and ignite humanity's grand renaissance, he needed to comprehend the world as it once was. Fortunately, cultural differences proved minimal. Yi Chu absorbed and integrated knowledge with remarkable speed. Tianka Biochemical Co., Ltd. Yi Chu learned the global cataclysm originated with Tianka Biochemical. To his astonishment, even this modest city, Yulin, had once hosted a branch office of Tianka Biochemical. That branch, it seemed, had been established specifically because Yulin possessed certain rare minerals vital to Tiank's research. Could it be? A tentative half-formed hypothesis began to coalesce in Yi Chu's mind. Sandaji. This time, Yi Chu summoned the zombie directly into the supermarket. Dispatch scouts to investigate this location. Yi Chu pointed decisively at a spot on the map, the former site of Tianka Biochemical's Yulin branch. Yet Yi Chu was left speechless. Sandaji, a mere level 1 zombie, possessed intellect inferior even to that of a mischievous hound. At that very moment, however, Yi Chu noticed a blank bracket on Sandetzi's attribute panel. Could I use energy points to enhance zombies' capabilities? At once, Yi Chu focused intently on Sandetzi's attribute panel. Zombie level 1 inferior. Skill infection. Weakness head. Yi Chu tapped the blank bracket with energy points. Ding dong. Target successfully upgraded to level 1 intermediate. Upgrading Sandaji cost Yi Chu only 100 energy points. Examining the updated attributes, Yi Chu noted a numerical value now appeared beside Sandetzi's rank, identical to his own. Zombie level 1 intermediate 0500. Skill infection. Weakness head. So upgrading zombies demands relatively little energy after all. Yi Chu immediately initiated a second upgrade. Sandetzi's decaying flesh receded, replaced by taut bluish-gray skin, resembling a mummified cadaver from cinematic lore. Zombie level 1 superior 01000. Glancing at his remaining energy reserves, Yi Chu gritted his teeth and propelled Sandaji directly to level 2 inferior. Zombie level 2 inferior 05000. Skills infection sprint. Weakness head. Upon reaching level 2, Sandaji acquired a second skill sprint. Though the head remained vulnerable, his desiccated hardened hide grew so dense, even bullets might fail to pierce it. Isn't the Zombie King ability effective only against zombies of equal or lower rank than myself? Now Sandaji stood at level 2, while Yi Chu himself remained level 1 superior, yet the zombie still obeyed without hesitation. Yi Chu was instantly perplexed. Notification zombies upgraded by the host are exempt from rank-based constraints and maintain absolute lifelong loyalty. No betrayal possible. The system provided immediate clarification. Yi Chu breathed a sigh of profound relief. With sufficient energy points, he could now forge an unstoppable legion of undead warriors. By the way, can I rename my zombies? Affirmative. Rename this one Sandaji. The Era was whining discontentedly beside him. Upon seeing this, Yi Chu burst into laughter. Don't worry, once I accumulate enough energy points, I'll upgrade you next. Unexpectedly, the Era was so perceptive that it even knew jealousy. Yi Chu had also considered killing all the hundreds of thousands of zombies in the city. This way he could obtain several 100,000 energy points. Coupled with the crystal cores within them, he would gain over 1,000,000 energy points, more than enough. However, doing so would expose Yi Chu to the world. By then, even if he elevated his level with energy points, he would not stand a chance against them, unless he stayed cooped up in the supermarket. Otherwise, once he ventured out, Yi Chu would no longer be invincible. Thus, steady progress and low-profile development were the true paths to success. Sandetzi became a second-tier zombie, and it could directly control 100 zombies. This time it went out with 100 little brothers in a grand procession. In this excursion, he truly found something. Yi Chu fell silent as he looked at the various potions on the table. These items were precisely the viruses researched by Tianka Biotech. It was also this substance that transformed over 90% of the world's population into zombies. There were 10 strains of the virus, and to Yi Chu's surprise, each one could be exchanged for 1,000 energy points. The energy contained in this virus is astonishing. Yi Chu exclaimed in disbelief. If all of this is exchanged, it amounts to 10,000 energy points. However, he soon thought that if the people from the Chang'an base were indeed here for this, then he was in for some fun. At the very least, Yi Chu would have the capital to negotiate with them. Perhaps completing an order with a turnover of 100,000 could yield benefits from them. Yet Yi Chu found himself in a dilemma. The number of people at the base exceeded 10 million and food and weapons were still in short supply. However, they had already begun to produce food and weapons. The daily necessities in Yi Chu's large supermarket and the weapons in the armory were likely beneath their notice. Tip items not produced by the system shop can also count towards turnover. Just when Yi Chu was in a predicament, the system suddenly spoke up. Are you saying that as long as I sell my own items, they count towards turnover, and the profits would all belong to me? Yi Chu was instantly delighted and asked eagerly exactly. Hearing the affirmative answer, he jumped up in excitement. These 10 strains of virus could be exchanged for 10,000 energy points with the system. But if he traded with those people, the crystal cores he could obtain would definitely exceed 10,000 energy points. By the way, Sendetsi, have you checked the mining site of Tianka Biotech? Not yet, Sendetsi replied. The mining site has terrifying things we didn't go down. Terrifying things. Could they be mutated beasts above the 3rd tier? Yi Chu felt troubled at once. However, if that were the case, then even if there were valuable items inside, they would be safe for the time being. At the very least, there were currently no people capable of entering the mining site. What Yi Chu needed to do now was to enhance his skills and reach the 2nd tier of evolution. Only in this way could Yi Chu directly control the 10 2nd-tier zombies lost under the influence of the Zombie King. This would give him the capital to subdue the 3rd-tier mutated beast in the suburbs. The next day, the zombies throughout the city became lively. A total of 5 people arrived from the Chang'an base along with 10 from the Shinfu base. In total, there were 15 people, most of whom were 2nd-tier evolved beings. Only the woman from the Shinfu base had reached the 3rd tier of evolution. This woman was none other than the leather-clad girl Yi Chu had encountered for the first time. She was the Du Bingyang that Xiao Pingon had mentioned. To avoid unnecessary losses, Yi Chu deliberately led the zombies away from their path. If these people started fighting, there wouldn't be enough zombies in the entire city to satisfy them. Moreover, their intentions were clear as they headed directly to the building of Tianka Biotech. Strange. We haven't seen any zombies along the way. Have they been beaten to it by someone else? A young man following Du Bingyang said suspiciously. Impossible, only we know about this matter. No one else could possibly know. Du Bingyang replied confidently. It seemed they had been here before. Upon entering the building, they headed straight for the laboratory. However, when they got to the laboratory, they were shocked to discover that the items were indeed missing. Damn it. Du Bingyang slammed her hand on the table, causing a layer of ice crystals to rapidly spread, shattering the entire table into icy shards. Leader, something bad has happened to our base. Has been attacked by the Xiao Pingon from the Miyuan base. Just then, a panicked shout suddenly echoed through the quiet laboratory. Even though it came through the earpiece, everyone present heard it clearly. Damn it, it must be that bastard Sun Jian. I'm sure they took the virus too. The leader of the Shinfu base was instantly enraged. Impossible, Sun Jian doesn't have that capability yet. Du Bingyang slowly shook her head. I have to go back quickly or my lair will be wiped out. The leader of the Shinfu base said urgently. Haha, it's truly a case of finding something without searching effortless. At that moment, a triumphant laugh came from outside. Looking over, they saw a team of 4 men and 1 woman slowly walking into the laboratory. The X-virus that caused global mutation now only has these 10 strains from this branch company. If we sell them, won't those researchers at the main base go crazy? The red-haired man at the forefront said obsessively. Xiaohua, Du Bingyang's expression suddenly darkened. Have you been following me? Du Bingyang, I told you, why have you been running to this small city lately? I inquired and found out that you were looking for the virus agent, even pretending to be sent by the main base to look for resources. You're quite clever. The red-haired man, Xiaohua, sneered. Du Bingyang glanced at the empty experimental platform and then at the incoming Xiaohua, asking in a deep voice. I was wondering why we didn't encounter a single zombie along the way, or it turns out you preempted it. Xiaohua, I discovered the news of the virus first. If you don't hand it over today, don't blame me for being rude. What are you talking about? Xiaohua looked bewildered. You want me to hand over the virus? Are you mistaken? To clear out the zombies to such an extent, no 3rd-tier evolved being could achieve that. In the entire Yulin city, there are no 3rd-tier evolved beings. As Du Bingyang spoke, the surrounding air cooled and dozens of ice spikes appeared in midair. Du Bingyang, it's a pity you didn't become an actress. You got the virus, but now falsely claim you didn't, and instead accuse us. Well done. As Xiaohua spoke, his red hair suddenly ignited, and a heat wave rolled through the air, creating 2 opposing realms of ice and fire with Du Bingyang. A great battle was about to erupt. At this moment, the leader of the Shinfu base slowly began to retreat. He realized that his group was merely there to make up the numbers. Now that the base was under attack, if he did not leave, he would lose everything. However, at that moment, Yi Chu was unable to witness the spectacle. At that moment, Yi Chu spread his wings and hurriedly flew towards the northern Jingbei base. Who finally arrived. He descended upon a desolate hillside. The Jingbei base was safer compared to other bases because it was built within a bomb shelter. From a high altitude, it was virtually undetectable. Even finding the entrance would take some time. After landing, Yi Chu burrowed into the ground and concealed himself within the bomb shelter. As the saying goes, two tigers cannot coexist on the same mountain unless one is male and the other female. The Jingbei base is a prime example of this. The leaders of Jingbei base are a couple who can transform into tigers. They originally worked at a zoo, but after their transformation, in order to survive, they consumed the corpses of two deceased tigers from the zoo. To their surprise, they awakened extraordinary abilities and became evolved beings. Jingbei base has around 2,000 people, significantly more than the other two bases. This is reflected in their management system. This couple still retains some humanity. All the survivors they accepted are uniformly managed and never enslaved. However, those who disobey must be dealt with severely. When Yi Chu appeared before this couple, he was adorned with hand grenades numbering at least 50 or 60. If they were to explode, they would be sufficient to collapse the entire air raid shelter. What do you want? Meng Hu asked coldly. Nothing much, I just want to discuss a business deal with you. Yi Chu casually took a seat as if he had returned home. Right now, Xiao Pingon controls the Miyuan base. I believe you have also received news from the Chang'an main base that they are looking for resources in the city, but now they have abandoned you and taken the people from the Xinfu base with them, while Xiao Pingon is attacking the Xinfu base. This is impossible. Before Yi Chu could finish his sentence, Meng Hu's wife interjected. Sun Jian is a mid-tier second-stage evolved being. Xiao Pingon cannot possibly kill Sun Jian. I didn't come here to chat with you. I believe you also have spies in other bases. If you don't believe me, you can ask around. But time is of the essence, and I am here to deliver this to you. As he spoke, Yi Chu took out a large number of submachine guns, rifles, and boxes of bullets and grenades from his backpack. Upon seeing so many weapons materialize before them, the couple's eyes widened in astonishment. Shall we go out and give them a try? Yi Chu asked with a wicked smile. There is no free lunch in the world. Tell me, what do you really want? Smart. Yi Chu snapped his fingers. For these items, it will cost you 100 full first-stage crystal nuclei. The term full refers to crystal nuclei that are fully charged with an exchange ratio of 100. Of course, second-stage nuclei are also acceptable. This, Meng Hu looked at Yi Chu with suspicion. If you think it's too expensive, we can negotiate the price. Yi Chu said. No, I mean, is it really this cheap? Meng Hu's remark caused Yi Chu to stumble slightly. Are you really that wealthy? Tell me, selling it to us this cheaply, is there something else going on? Meng Hu looked at Yi Chu suspiciously. Aside from weapons, there really are other matters. Yi Chu said with a mysterious smile. Upon hearing Yi Chu's words, Meng Hu sneered. Indeed, there is no free lunch in the world. Hey, don't say it like that. This is a genuinely free lunch. Currently, Xiao Pingon is attacking the Xinfu base, and the Miyuan base has been left unguarded. You are over 200 miles away from them. They certainly won't expect you to attack. So you intend to sow discord between us to reap the benefits for yourself? Meng Hu's wife said triumphantly, as if she had exposed his conspiracy. Seeing this, Yi Chu remained calm. I am a businessman. Oh, I am not interested in you. But I want to tell you that Yulin City is about to unify, and you are faced with only two choices: being swallowed or being destroyed. Yi Chu reiterated the reasoning he had previously shared with Xiao Pingon. After hearing this, Meng Hu and his wife fell silent. Why did the people from the Chang'an main base choose the Xinfu base? Because the Xinfu base has already submitted to them. Why is Xiao Pingon attacking the Xinfu base? Because once the Xinfu base is destroyed, the Chang'an main base will have to choose between you two. At that time, Xiao Pingon will have the strength to absorb the Xinfu base. Oh, what about you? At this point, you have only one choice: surrender or be annihilated. I remember that there are a few third-stage evolved beings among the people from the Chang'an main base. I wonder if you can withstand them. Now that we have reached this point, consider it carefully. These items can be seen as my investment in you. If one day you unify Yulin City, I will also benefit. Yi Chu beckoned with his finger and then took out a list from his pocket detailing all the items available in the supermarket and armory. I can provide as many items as you need, and delivery is supported as long as you have enough crystal nuclei. The number of evolved beings in the base is scarce, so if they want to protect the base, they still need to rely on firearms. If these items are armed, Jingbei base will undoubtedly surpass the other two bases. Meng Hu thought no matter what Yi Chu's motives are, as long as this batch of weapons is real, it doesn't matter. After a careful inspection, fearing that Yi Chu would return, Meng Hu quickly took out 100 full crystal nuclei and handed them to Yi Chu, then swiftly called for the weapons to be taken away. You can choose to listen to me or not. If you need anything in the future, just come to Yulin City to find me. As long as you arrive in Yulin City, I will know where you are." After saying this, Yi Chu sank into the ground and disappeared from the Jingbei base. Ding dong. Completed a door-to-door sale with an additional 20 commission reward. Yi Chu seemed to have discovered a new world. It appears that these items can be sold through various means, and he can also earn extra rewards. Takeout sales. If a delivery company is restored, then online sales will likely see skyrocketing profits. By the way, delivery. Yi Chu's eyes lit up. There are many mutated beasts now, including flying bird-like mutants. If these bird-like mutants can be trained, could they serve the purpose of delivery? This idea took root in Yi Chu's mind immediately. Once I handle the matters of these bases, I will start a delivery company. Thinking of this, Yi Chu couldn't help but smile. However, at this moment, Yulin City was in complete chaos. The battles between third-stage evolved beings affected the entire city. When Yi Chu arrived, Du Bingyang had already fallen behind. Roar! At that moment, a loud beast roar echoed from the south. Everyone's eyes widened in fear. They had forgotten one critical fact: the third-stage mutated beast in the Yulin City Zoo. Yi Chu hid underground, observing from above. This mutated beast was an enormous elephant standing a towering 5 meters tall. Its appearance reminded Yi Chu of the ancient woolly mammoth. With its formidable size, immense strength, and sharp tusks, it destroyed nearly all buildings in its path. This mutated elephant was the true beneficiary of the chaos. As a fellow third-stage being, it only emerged after Du Bingyang and Xiaohua had fought to the death. Du Bingyang, will you surrender the viral reagent, or not? Xiaohua conjured a blazing fireball and suspended it directly above Du Bingyang's head, threatening her with venomous intensity. Xiaohua, if you don't possess the virus, then someone else has already seized it. Realizing the truth in an instant, Du Bingyang, far from naive, quickly pieced together the situation. Don't play dumb. Though your clan wields absolute authority at the central base, this is Yulin City, and a mutated beast is already rushing toward us. If you perish beneath its claws, no one will hold me accountable. Xiaohua stared anxiously at the advancing mutated beast as it roared. Meanwhile, Yi Chu, hidden deep underground, watched the entire spectacle with serene, unruffled composure. Now is not the time to debate the virus. First, we must subdue this mutated beast. Du Bingyang still retained a sliver of strength. In one fluid motion, she rose and swept her right hand forward. A towering wall of ice materialized in the distance. Boom! The mutated elephant charged, and the ice wall shattered instantly. Celestial meteor strike. The fireball Xiaohua had long been charging, originally intended for Du Bingyang, now hurled straight toward the beast. Boom! Sparks exploded like crimson stars. The mutated elephant's massive frame erupted into flames. Though both had just clashed fiercely, their combined might rendered a same-tier mutated elephant effortlessly manageable. Boom! At that very moment, a rocket-propelled grenade streaked across the sky, tail ablaze, and struck the beast dead. Its colossal body collapsed with a thunderous crash. Gentlemen, you've earned your rest. Yi Chu stood atop a distant high-rise, smiling calmly upon them all. Ding! Congratulations! Host has slain a Tier 3 low-rank zombie. Energy reward 1000. Yi Chu spread his wings and soared down, rocket launcher cradled in hand, landing smoothly before the two. Under their stunned gaze, he slipped the Tier 3 core into his pocket. This artifact alone would fetch over 1,000 energy units. Unlike Tier 2 cores, Tier 3 cores yielded exponentially greater energy value. Carry on. I merely passed by to claim the final blow. With that, Yi Chu vanished into the earth, leaving the two staring wordlessly at each other. It must be him who stole the virus. Du Bingyang cried in alarm, and with a flick of her wrist launched a razor-sharp ice spike toward the ground. The spike pierced the soil, stopping precisely 3 inches deep, unable to advance further. Stop pretending. Hand over the virus now. Yet Xiaohua refused to believe Du Bingyang, not in the slightest. Hey, was this what you were talking about? Just then Yi Chu reappeared, his head and shoulders emerging halfway from the earth. If you want to meet me at the China Resources mega supermarket next door, I'll be waiting there. Yi Chu was merely a Tier 1 advanced evolver. In raw power, he remained inferior to both. Here he sought no enemies, only a premium price for his wares. The system had confirmed items he owned counted toward his sales revenue. Perhaps this single transaction would fulfill his mission. At the supermarket entrance, Yi Chu greeted them with warm, affable smiles. Step right in, both of you. Yi Chu cheerfully ushered them inside. Xiaohua, who had initially planned to seize Yi Chu on sight, immediately abandoned the idea upon beholding the supermarket's vast expanse. Yulin City actually harbors a supermarket of such scale. In the resource-starved apocalypse, food was humanity's bedrock. No one knew the staggering cost the Chang'an Central Base had borne to resolve the food crisis, except Du Bingyang and Xiaohua. Their families had endured that very era. Such abundance of grain and daily necessities was exceedingly rare, even at the Chang'an Central Base. What left them utterly astounded, however, was the presence of fresh seafood. After the viral outbreak, the oceans had become among the most perilous domains. 99% of animals had undergone mutation, edible livestock had all but vanished. If you carry cores, I'll appraise them fairly, honesty guaranteed. Yi Chu strode toward a massive round table. Fang Xiaoyu and Meng Qiyuan immediately stepped forward, pouring tea and serving water with quiet grace. You're Meng Qiyuan, Du Bingyang, and Xiao Hua gasped in unison, eyes wide with disbelief. In the pre-apocalyptic world, Meng Qiyuan had been a blazing star. They never imagined she'd now serve tea and water. Yet moments later they sighed inwardly, realizing that in this apocalypse 90% of survivors likely fared worse than she did. Enough talk. Did you take those 10 vials? Xiao Hua's face darkened, waves of searing heat rippled around him as he locked his glare onto Yi Chu. Yes, I took them. Yi Chu produced all the vials without hesitation. Give them to me now. In that instant Xiao Hua struck, his body igniting into a living inferno. Scorching gusts forced everyone back as his right hand shot out, aiming straight for the vials. Get lost. Yi Chu raised his right palm and delivered a thunderous slap. Boom. To everyone's utter shock, Xiao Hua spun wildly through the air before crashing headlong into a shelving unit. All stood frozen mouths agape. Xiao Hua's flames had extinguished entirely. His right cheek grotesquely swollen, bloated like a pig's snout. What's wrong? Planning to steal it. The vials still rested untouched on the table, but no one dared step forward. A Tier 3 evolver, knocked flat by a single slap. Du Bingyang stared at Yi Chu, incredulous. Just how formidable is his strength? She lowered her voice, cautious and measured. Sir, may I ask, how do you intend to sell this virus? I'll sell it for exactly what it's worth. Yi Chu smiled faintly. Its true value escapes me, but surely you know it well enough yourselves. This? Du Bingyang hesitated, visibly flustered. Truthfully, we'll need to return to the base for proper analysis before assigning a definitive price. Then, how much will you offer? Yi Chu asked. Du Bingyang said nothing, merely raised 5 fingers. What does that mean? Yi Chu tilted his head, puzzled. 500 crystal coins, Du Bingyang replied evenly. Crystal coins? What are those? Yi Chu frowned, genuinely perplexed. Crystal coins are the standardized currency across major bases, forged from zombie cores. Since cores vary in energy density, the central base refines and recasts them into uniform coins. 1 coin equals 1 fully saturated Tier 1 core. Let me see one. Yi Chu's curiosity ignited. He hadn't expected a formal monetary system to emerge so swiftly in the apocalypse. Du Bingyang tossed him a circular coin, larger than a pre-collapse coin, crystalline and lustrous. Yi Chu scanned it with his system and confirmed its authenticity. 1 coin equaled 100 energy units. Thus, 500 coins amounted to 50,000 energy, a full half of his projected sales revenue, all accruing directly to him. I'll offer 600 crystal coins. A frail voice cut in from the side. Xiao was still nursing his bruised face, limped forward, eyes wary yet resolve unbroken. From somewhere they produced a pouch, its contents clinking musically with every movement. Agreed, deal sealed. Yi Chu accepted the coins without delay. Du Bingyang bids 50,000 energy. I'll sell you 1 vial. Xiao Hua bids 60,000. I'll sell you 1 too. Should they prove effective, return anytime. I have 8 more in stock. Yi Chu slid 2 vials across the table, then carefully stowed the rest away. You won't sell them all. Their faces twisted sour as if swallowing live insects. Sell them all? Don't be absurd. You yourself said its value is incalculable. Why would I surrender my entire inventory to just 2 buyers? Yi Chu grinned, triumphant, sly, and utterly unapologetic. If the price offends you, take your coins back. With a sharp clack, he tossed the entire pouch toward them. The value of the virus is beyond imagination. Even a single vial would allow them to break even upon their return. Reluctantly, they had no choice but to agree to the deal. Carefully stowing away the virus, the two prepared to leave. Wait, Yi Chu called out to them. Sir, are you having second thoughts? The expressions of the two changed, worry creeping into their voices. No, what I meant was, don't you want to order anything else? Yi Chu said as he led everyone towards the next room. I have many more items here, all at great prices. As he slowly pushed open the door, a chilling metallic aura rushed out. Wow, so many weapons. The two exclaimed in astonishment. Feel free to look around, the prices are all listed. 100 energy equals 1 crystal coin. The group walked in shocked. If this was the case, then these weapons were indeed incredibly cheap. Moreover, among them, they spotted the rocket launcher Yi Chu had just used. This item could deal fatal damage to third-tier evolvers and mutated beasts provided it hit the target. If we convert one crystal coin into 100 units, then look at these weapons. Yi Chu continued to introduce. A handgun is only 500 units, which is just 5 crystal coins. Standard handgun bullets cost 1 unit, each rifle bullets cost 2 units, and sniper bullets cost 5 units. Do you want to get some? Do you still have any crystal coins on you? Xiaohua immediately urged the team behind him. Before long, they gathered 100 crystal coins. This was equivalent to a considerable amount of energy value. Moreover, Du Bingyang had also collected over 200 crystal coins. It must be said that shopping is innate to women. Du Bingyang spent every last coin. From these 2 transactions, Yi Chu directly earned over 3,000 energy. Tisk, look at that. Big clients are straightforward, unlike those small places like Mi Yuan Base and Jingbei Base, so stingy. With a beaming smile, Yi Chu watched the group leave the city. After all, the customer is king. After sending them off, Yi Chu's sales channels were thoroughly opened. With 8 vials of reagents still on hand, they would definitely bring strong individuals back next time to snatch them. Such as the apocalypse, whatever can be snatched will never cost a penny. But as long as you come, if you don't bring me hundreds of thousands in revenue, how could I let you leave? Thinking of this, Yi Chu couldn't help but smile. Returning to the supermarket, Yi Chu was in particularly good spirits. Xiao Yu, I'm in a good mood today. Let's make a simple seafood hot pot. The broth needs to use Quadi Coolistaro, did you hear me? This water in peacetime costs $60,000 for a 750 milliliters bottle. Once in his room, Yi Chu took out all the crystal coins. Convert all the coins into energy. 1,100 crystal coins could be exchanged for over 110,000 plus the previously earned commission. From this business, Yi Chu had made over 113,000, and with his previous savings, he now had a total of 115,000 energy. Ding. Task completed, reward of 10,000 energy points. Ding. Task exceeded, reward of a large gift pack. Ding. New task issued, achieve 500,000 in sales within a month, reward of 100,000 energy. What is this? 500,000 in a month. How is that possible? Yi Chu protested in dissatisfaction, but the system would not show pity. After the rewards, it fell back into dormancy. However, considering the 2 big clients, Xiaohua and Du Bingyang, completing 500,000 in a month still seemed possible. Moreover, the system did not mention any penalties. Even if the deadline was missed, it likely would just reduce the rewards. Following this, Yi Chu opened the newbie gift pack. Ding. Congratulations, you have received 100,000 energy. Ding. Congratulations, you have received a book on weapon enchantment. Ding. Congratulations, you have acquired the skill beast taming technique. As the tasks exceeded expectations, the rewards from the system became increasingly impressive. Yi Chu calculated, with the energy points from the rewards, he now had over 1,000 energy points. A surefire, new rich man. Moreover, this weapon enchantment book. Yi Chu slowly opened it. He saw various obscure symbols etched within. Below the symbols, there were detailed descriptions of their effects. Level 1 enchantment, rate of fire. Basic, increases the rate of fire of ranged weapons by 20. Energy cost 1,000. Level 1 enchantment stability, basic, increases the stability of ranged weapons by 20. Energy cost 1,000. Level 1 enchantment precision, basic, increases the precision of ranged weapons by 20. Energy cost 1,000. Level 1 enchantment power increases weapon power by 20. Energy cost 1,000. Yi Chu noted that the last power increase seemed to apply to both ranged and melee weapons. However, the subsequent energy costs made Yi Chu's heart sink. Flipping through the book, he also saw level 2 enchantments, level 5 enchantments. But the energy consumption at those levels was simply unimaginable. Taking out the Fire Qilin AK-47, Yi Chu directly applied a set of level 2 enchantments. Level 2 enchantment, rate of fire, basic, increases the rate of fire of ranged weapons by 50. Energy cost 100,000. Level 2 enchantment stability, basic, increases the stability of ranged weapons by 50. Energy cost 100,000. The energy consumed for level 2 enchantment reached a staggering 100,000. In total, this cost Yi Chu 4,000 energy. Of course, that was just for these 4 enchantments aimed at ranged weapons. However, the effects achieved a 50 increase, which was absolutely a great value. At the very least, with this weapon, Yi Chu had the confidence to challenge third-tier evolvers. Of course, except for those rare evolvers with special abilities like space or time. Because the abilities of those individuals are simply unimaginable. There are also metal manipulators like Magneto who are the natural enemies of firearms. Finally, Yi Chu directly learned the last skill book, Beast Taming Technique. Beast Taming Technique can tame all beast types as pets. Success rate depends on target level, and the weaker the target, the higher the success rate. This is truly like a pillow given when one is sleepy. When returning from Jingbei Base, Yi Chu had been contemplating how to establish a courier service. Little did he expect that after completing the task, he was gifted a beast-taming technique. Yi Chu's initial plan was to form a team of flying mutated beasts as couriers, or perhaps to use flying machines instead. However, flying machines might lack offensive capabilities and would likely be subjected to long-range attacks from other flying mutated beasts and humans along the way. This could lead to lost packages for customers. Now with this beast-taming technique, Yi Chu could establish his own courier service. At that time, his weapons and daily necessities would definitely be delivered to every corner of the country. Just thinking about it made him a bit excited. Looking at the remaining energy points, Yi Chu whistled. Not long after, Huado came trotting in. Huado, weren't you complaining that I didn't enhance your strength? Now I'm going to enhance your power. Woof woof woof. Huado barked excitedly, wagging its tail at Yi Chu. Huado first tier low rank 0500. Skills Keen Senses Claw Strike. A mere 500 energy points. Yi Chukai boldly upgraded Huado to the second tier. Huado second tier low rank 05000. Skills Keen Senses Claw Strike Death Grip. Unexpectedly upon reaching the second tier, Huado awakened another skill. Death Grip Bite, and do not let go unless a chunk of flesh is bitten off or the teeth will shatter. This is a wolf annihilation. Immediately, Yi Chukai glanced at the energy points required for the upgrade. He looked at his remaining energy points. With gritted teeth, Yi Chukai spent 5,000 and upgraded Huado to a second-tier medium rank. Huado second-tier medium rank 010000. For the next upgrade to second-tier high rank, 1,000 more is required. Yi Chukai pondered. Huado's strength sword, which was also a guarantee for himself. Thinking of this, Yi Chukai spent another 10,000 to upgrade Huado to second-tier high rank. Huado second-tier high rank 020000. To continue upgrading requires 20,000, not too much. Yi Chukai eagerly anticipated what Huado would be like at the third tier. He checked his balance and continued to upgrade. Suddenly, a black light emanated from Huado. Following that, Huado's appearance underwent a tremendous change. Its fur began to become exceptionally smooth, and its color changed to pure black. Even its body length became extraordinarily tall, standing up surely exceeding 2 meters. The pure black fur reflected a sheen, with 2 fangs protruding, exuding an intimidating presence. Yi Chukai looked over and was instantly delighted. Huado third tier low rank 010000. Skills Keen Senses Claw Strike Death Grip Annihilation Black Flame. Upon reaching the third tier, Huado indeed awakened a skill. After seeing the attributes of this skill, Yi Chukai felt that all the energy spent earlier was worth it. Annihilation Black Flame breathes out black flames that can burn everything in the world. The burning time and power depend on the target's rank. Could this guy truly be a descendant of Huado? Yi Chukai couldn't help but be secretly astonished. Huado is an ancient mythical beast known for spewing flames, leaving destruction in its wake. Then Yi Chukai checked his energy points. Now there were only over 60,000 left. It was time to nourish himself. Host Yi Chukai. Level first tier high rank 010000. Store Huaran Supermarket CF Armory. Permission level 2 5100. Energy 95000. Task Ding Dong. Release task, achieve a turnover of 500,000 within a month, reward of 100,000 energy points. Upon seeing his attributes, Yi Chukai suddenly hesitated. Distributing this energy points is quite tricky. In an instant, Yi Chukai felt that the feeling of being a nouveau riche had vanished. He even felt a bit financially strained. With over 60,000 energy points. Let's upgrade my level first. Whoosh. 10,000 energy points were invested, and Yi Chukai's level directly rose from first tier, high rank, to second tier. Level second tier low rank 050000. However, what stunned Yi Chukai was that upgrading from second tier low rank required as much as 50,000 energy points. And now he only had 50,000 left. Continue upgrading. Or upgrade permission. Without a second thought, Yi Chukai chose to upgrade his permission. What difference does it make between second tier low rank and second tier medium rank? Even if there is, it can be leveled with an AK-47 in hand. 1,000 upgrade permission. Currently, Yi Chukai's permission is level 2. If he wishes to upgrade to level 3, it will cost 10,000. Coincidentally, AK bullets also require energy consumption, so the leftover will be considered as buying bullets. Otherwise, Yi Chukai would lose his trump card for survival. Ding dong. Do you want to upgrade permission? Yes. Upgrade successful, permission upgraded to level 3, opening the third store, Jingu Secret Store. Jingu. Secret Store? What is this sell? Yi Chukai immediately asked in confusion. Jingu Secret Store includes all martial arts manuals from Jin Yong and Gulong's novels. What? There's such a thing. Originally, the CF Armory had already exceeded Yi Chukai's imagination. Unexpectedly, the third permission opened even included martial arts secrets. Eagerly arriving at the supermarket entrance, Yi Chukai indeed found a quaintly decorated shop filled with ancient charm on the left side of the supermarket. Above the entrance there was a sign that read Jingu Secret Store. What Yi Chukai couldn't imagine was that upgrading to level 3 permission would require 100,000 energy points for a further upgrade to level 4. This exponential number made Yi Chukai even more excited about what new stores might be developed in the future. Now that martial arts manuals have appeared, what else might be sold in the future from mythical novels? Ding dong. Level 3 permission upgrade successful. Gain permission for resource information analysis. What is this permission? What function does it have? Yi Chukai asked. Upon obtaining this permission, the system will automatically analyze the supply shortages or surpluses of resources within 1,000 miles of stores, ensuring high prices for store products. Yi Chukai raised an eyebrow. Are you saying the prices of goods can be controlled? Exactly. Why didn't you say this earlier? Yi Chukai slapped his forehead, realizing he could have raised the prices by 200%. How much less profit did he make from major clients like Xiaohua and Du Bingyang? System prompt: all resources are controlled by the market. Exceeding a certain range will be affected, and the system will adjust the host commissions based on the host's turnover. Yi Chukai nodded in acknowledgement. Yi Chukai suddenly remembered Meng Hu and his wife from the Jingbei base, as well as Xiaohua and Du Bingyang, and the expressions they had when they heard the prices of these weapons. The prices were clearly set too low. But then Yi Chukai thought of the fact that the system's resources were inexhaustible. Selling at a thin profit could also be a means of profit. However, appropriate price adjustments close to market prices could not only earn more, but also not disrupt market balance. Price adjustments could be discussed later. Yi Chukai looked at the Jingu Secret Store and then walked inside. Unlike the vastness of the supermarket and the depth of the armory, the Jingu Secret Store was quite small. There were 2 counters on either side, and behind the counters stood a tall cabinet resembling a Chinese medicine cabinet. However, what was inside was not Chinese medicine but manuals. On the left were Jin Yong's works, and on the right were Gu Long's, clearly divided. In terms of martial arts novels, Yi Chukai had mostly been exposed to Jin Yong's. Those martial arts manuals like the 18 dragon subduing palms, the dog beating staff technique, and the wave stepping technique were all familiar martial arts skills. On the contrary, Yi Chukai was somewhat unfamiliar with Gu Long's. Walking to the left counter, Yi Chukai looked at the large cabinet where every compartment was engraved with the names of secret techniques. As the owner, he could naturally cultivate all the secret techniques here. However, while he could cultivate them, he could not succeed directly. This process required a certain cost. For instance, the 18 dragon subduing palms, such profound martial arts would take at least 20 to 30 years of hard practice and talent to master. Thus, the energy points spent on cultivation were extremely high. Conversely, some ordinary manuals, like the Chuanjin sword technique and the Shaolin iron cloth shirt, were much simpler to cultivate and consumed significantly less energy. Yi Chukai looked at his balance, unable to help but frown. 13,000 energy points, why did they run out so quickly? In the end, Yi Chu chose the relatively basic iron cloth shirt. The reason for this choice was primarily due to its low energy consumption. It could be upgraded to the highest level with only 10,000 points of energy. Moreover, the indestructible body that Yi Chu favored was fundamentally based on the iron cloth shirt. There was also the more advanced dragon elephant prajna art. Yi Chu possessed the ability to amplify his strength. If combined with this dragon elephant prajna art, his power would reach an extraordinarily terrifying level. According to the system, the dragon elephant prajna art is a supreme divine skill belonging to the esoteric sect, divided into 13 levels. Its external skills are fierce and powerful, with each level embodying the strength of a dragon and an elephant. Upon reaching the 10th level, it bestows the might of 10 dragons and 10 elephants, with each strike carrying the weight of 1,000 pounds, possessing unparalleled power. Thus, it is evident that the dragon elephant prajna art is the supreme skill for cultivating strength. There were also some martial arts related to movement, such as the cloud ladder leap from Wudong. When practiced to an advanced level, it could allow one to jump over 10 meters in place. Additionally, there was the wave step, which had a 100% evasion rate. As for other sword and knife techniques, Yi Chu didn't even glance at them. A barrage of bullets would be far more effective than wielding swords or knives. Subsequently, Yi Chu examined the prices of these manuals. Good heavens! It was shocking to see the prices. Just for the iron cloth shirt that Yi Chu had learned, it required 2,000 points of energy. The advanced techniques like the 18 dragon subduing palms and the wedding garment divine skill cost a terrifying tens of thousands of energy. These manuals could be learned freely by Yi Chu, but would be of little use unless he could cultivate them to their peak. What Yi Chu was unaware of was, currently high-level zombies were no longer affected by basic firearms. Weapons of mass destruction like nuclear bombs were ineffective against them. The accompanying nuclear radiation not only failed to kill the zombies, but also caused them to mutate into even more terrifying forms. The world's evolution now relied solely on the evolved beings. Unless Yi Chu intervened and enabled ordinary people to wield CF weapons, they would be unable to fight back. Additionally, Yi Chu would also enchant the weapons. The enhanced lethality would be capable of inflicting terrifying damage on high-level zombies. Furthermore, there was this martial arts manual. The combination of cold weapons and martial arts techniques would be more fearsome than ordinary firearms. Perhaps the era of all-out warfare was about to arrive, and the one to lead this era would be Yi Chu. This was a golden opportunity for ordinary people to rise and sing. After leaving the manual shop, Yi Chu planned to start his own delivery business. Currently, he had two directions. First, he intended to tame mutant beasts using the beast taming technique and transport them by air. However, this carried certain risks. Yi Chu couldn't guarantee that the tamed mutant birds wouldn't be eaten by other powerful mutant birds. Second, Yi Chu planned to create a vast underground kingdom. Hundreds of meters underground, he excavated a network of passages. This would ensure the safety of transporting goods. The only downside was that Yi Chu worried about the entrances being discovered, leading others to follow the passages to this location. After thinking it over, Yi Chu had a sudden idea. He could place the entrance in the city center where the zombies were most densely packed. Thus, even if someone came through the passage, they would be directly attacked by zombies. Moreover, as Yi Chu's control over earth elements increased with his level, the range he could control was slowly expanding. Upon reaching the second-tier low-level evolved being, Yi Chu could control the land within a radius of 200 meters. Within this 200-meter range, Yi Chu could manipulate all the land, transforming it into any shape he desired. Without hesitation, Yi Chu decided to create a direct passage to the Mi Yuan base. With a thought, a 200-meter-long passage appeared. The passage was 1 meter high and 1 meter wide, making it quite inconvenient for anyone to enter, as they would have to bend down. However, for transporting supplies, it was more than sufficient. Currently, Yi Chu had over 30,000 energy points. In just one morning, he had opened up a passage leading to the Mi Yuan base. After checking the time, Yi Chu went directly to the surface and then entered the Mi Yuan base. Yo, I'm eating. Yi Chu's sudden appearance startled Xiao Pingon. Such sudden appearances were anything but reassuring. Who knows if Yi Chu would stab you while you were asleep at night? Looks like the raid on the Divine Mansion base was successful. Yi Chu smirked, wearing a congratulatory expression, but inwardly, he was sneering. If nothing unexpected happened, Meng Hu and his wife would have certainly raided the Mi Yuan base that day. Ah, what a stroke of bad luck. Xiao Pingon slammed his hand on the table. That day when we were attacking the Divine Mansion base, the leader of the Divine Mansion base, Zhang Tielin, suddenly returned. We were so close to succeeding, and when I came back, I found that our base had been raided by Meng Hu and his wife from the Jingbei base. Those bastards, I won't let them off easily. Calm down, calm down. Yi Chu sat down with an indifferent expression and began to eat with chopsticks. After digging tunnels for a whole morning, he was indeed hungry. Without the interference of the Chang'an main base, the three of you standing together is quite good, isn't it? I'm just a bit regretful that we were so close. In that case, I'll sell you another batch of weapons. Set your sights on the nearest county city. After this battle, they will definitely enter a period of rest. You should quickly strengthen your power, because I'm worried that the people from the Chang'an main base will be coming soon. As he spoke, Yi Chu paused his chewing. He still had 8 virus strains in hand, and they wouldn't give up. When you grow stronger, the people from the Chang'an base will naturally choose to assist you. Xiao Pingon nodded in agreement, but then said with difficulty, I don't have many crystal cores left recently. That's why I told you to focus on the nearest county city. Yi Chu chuckled coldly. No money. What could you do? After a hearty meal, Yi Chu returned through the tunnel. On the way back, he suddenly encountered a dilemma. The passage was now open, but what about the transportation vehicles for delivering the weapons? Thinking of this, Yi Chu expanded the passage so that it could accommodate a car. There were so many abandoned cars in the city, he could just grab a few. The passage was straight. Stepping on the gas, the car could drive through without a driver. At that time, they could just pick up the weapons themselves and then drive the car back. This was indeed a good plan. However, underground transportation was limited to a small area. If long-distance goods were to be transported, then air transport would be necessary. After returning, Yi Chu began capturing mutant beasts. The mutated birds had greatly enhanced their flight capabilities. Moreover, they had become aggressive. 1 or 2 would not satisfy Yi Chu. What he needed was a large-scale air transport group. The mutated birds are heading to the suburbs for hunting. Among them, the mutated sparrows are the most numerous. Yi Chu has seen the mutated sparrows. A massive flock densely packed together numbering over 10,000. Sparrows primarily feed on plant seeds, and now the virus mutation has caused the plants to flourish. Thus, the sparrows are never short of food. Yi Chu vaguely remembers catching small birds during his childhood, using a wooden basin with a stick propped up tied to a long rope extending into a corner. Underneath the wooden basin, he placed some rice. When the birds come to eat, they pull the rope. Bam! The birds would be covered immediately. This method never fails. Using this method, Yi Chu directly caught a sparrow. Bang, bang, bang. However, Yichu was surprised when the sparrow pecked a hole through the basin with its sharp beak. So powerful. Yichu hurried over, reaching in to grab the sparrow. Bam! Not paying attention, the sparrow pecked at his hand, drawing blood. Iron cloth shirt. Yichu exclaimed. He felt his muscles tense up, becoming solid and hard. Bam! The sparrow pecked again, but it sounded as if it had pecked a stone. Impressive. Secretly admiring the sturdy defense of the iron cloth shirt, Yichu carefully observed the sparrow. The mutated sparrow was now 2 to 3 times larger than before. Moreover, it was quite aggressive. The struggle was incredibly strong. If Yichu didn't exert force, the sparrow could very well escape. Wow! With this strength, it can carry at least 20 pounds. Yichu marveled. However, he soon used the beast taming technique. As he chanted the incantation, the mutated sparrow seemed to respond to the spell, gradually calming down. Before long, the sparrow slowly opened its eyes. At that moment, Yichu felt a faint connection with the sparrow in his mind. He then slowly released his grip, and the sparrow flapped a few times before flying away. As the sparrow flew further away, the connection between Yichu and the sparrow grew weaker. Come back! Yichu shouted. But the sparrow had already vanished. Did I fail, eh? Just then, to Yichu's surprise, the sparrow returned carrying a plant seed. Is this for me? Yichu looked at the seed the sparrow placed in his hand, astonished. Then he saw the sparrow nod in a surprisingly human-like manner. Yichu gently stroked the sparrow's little head and said, "Thank you, but I don't eat this." To his surprise, the sparrow shook its head insistently, urging Yichu to accept the seed. At that moment, a voice suddenly sounded from the system. Alert, high energy target detected. Do you wish to absorb? Yichu looked and found that the seed emitted a dense energy. This is... Yichu began to analyze with the system, his eyes widening in surprise. Mutated apple seed can be planted to yield energy-increasing fruit. Energy-increasing fruit. This is comparable to those developed gene serums. Yichu never expected this sparrow would gift him such a big surprise. Carefully storing the seed, Yichu planned to return and flatten all the buildings around the supermarket, creating a paradise in the city center. Then Yichu took out an AK. The AK-47 loaded weighed a total of 479 kilograms. Yichu let the sparrow try it out. To his astonishment, the sparrow effortlessly lifted the AK-47. Moreover, it was very agile. Yichu tried again. A sparrow could carry about 3 AKs, which is roughly 15 kilograms. However, with this weight, the sparrow could only fly a few dozen kilometers before exhausting itself and needing rest. Yichu found that with a weight of around 10 kilograms, the sparrow could fly up to 100 kilometers. He then smiled at the densely packed sparrows in the tree. The formation of the airlift army was progressing steadily. In just 10 days, Yichu had tamed 5,000 sparrows. This number could temporarily meet his needs. The reason he could tame so many was that Yichu's beast taming technique had upgraded during the process. After the upgrade, the success rate increased significantly, and it could also handle group taming. This greatly saved Yichu's time and effort. With less than 20 days left, he had to achieve a turnover of 500,000 within that time. The construction of the underground freight passage allowed Yichu to systematically supply resources to the 3 bases. Following Yichu's suggestion, they shifted their focus to the surrounding county towns. All the crystal nuclei obtained were handed over to Yichu. In return, he provided them with food, weapons, and so on. In a way, the 3 bases seemed to have become Yichu's workers. Moreover, the 3 bases had temporarily avoided war by rallying around Yichu. This was a significant boon for the ordinary people in the bases. There were instances when people from the 3 bases ventured through the underground passage. However, when they arrived at the entrance, they were met with despair. This was because Yichu's entrance was built several hundred meters underground. They had no other tools and simply could not ascend. The rain in July came suddenly. This was the first rain Yichu had seen since arriving here. Why did this rain come so suddenly? Yichu couldn't help but wonder. Just a moment ago, the sky had been clear. There was no thunder or lightning, and suddenly the sky was overcast. Yichu stood at the supermarket entrance looking outside. Light rain was falling, which soon turned into a torrential downpour. At that moment, Sandetsi suddenly rushed in quickly. "Master, it's bad. The zombies in the city have mutated." Mutated? Yichu then walked outside. The rain hit him, and he suddenly felt a wave of heat. It felt as if sparks were striking him. Alert, host is being eroded by the virus. The system has automatically converted it into energy. Energy 1. Energy 1. Energy 1. The sounds echoed in Yichu's ears. He was pleasantly surprised, not expecting to gain energy from the rain. However, Yichu couldn't stay happy for long. It seemed that the rain was rich in viruses, and the surrounding zombies began to evolve. Originally low-level first-tier zombies quickly evolved into medium-tier ones under the heavy rain, and they were still climbing. Oh no! Yichu was suddenly alarmed. If the zombies' levels rose too quickly, his Zombie King skill would lose its control over them. Roar! A series of passionate roars erupted. Yichu perked up his ears to listen carefully. he discovered that all the sounds were coming from the direction of the originally second-tier zombies. This also meant that the second-tier zombies were beginning to mutate. Quick! Meng Qiu and Fang Xiaoyu bring out all the largest containers in the supermarket. This rainwater must not go to waste. If we collect the rainwater, we can bathe in it later, and it will all be energy. All the containers were placed outside, and Yi Chu took out a huge plastic sheet. He spread it on the roof and connected a pipe. Yi Chu instructed Meng Qiyuan to hold the pipe, continuously collecting rainwater. While working, Yi Chu suddenly heard the radio in the supermarket turn on. During this time, Yi Chu had been relying on the radio to receive information from the outside. At the Chang'an Central Base, a professor from the former Tianka Biological Company has developed a virus antibody under the samples of the original virus a few days ago. Today, artificial rainfall has begun to be implemented in the Chang'an area using satellites. However, the originally mutated virus turned this rain into a virus rain, and all zombies, mutated beasts, and plants began to evolve wildly. Currently, the Chang'an Central Base is under a frenzied attack from evolved zombies, and flying mutated beasts are attacking above the Chang'an Central Base, putting it in grave danger. According to confirmed reports, the personal municipal base in Anfu City has just been besieged by evolved mutated beasts, resulting in a complete city collapse, with no one spared. According to confirmed reports, the personal municipal base in Changle City has just been besieged by evolved mutated beasts, resulting in a complete city collapse, with no one spared. The radio continuously transmitted bad news. Yi Chu held his breath and focused on the urgent news, sinking into deep thought. Beep, beep, beep. At this moment, a series of alarms suddenly rang out from a distance near the entrance of the underground passage. This was set up by Yi Chu, indicating that people from the other 3 bases might have arrived here. Yi Chu stepped out, and his wings instantly spread open behind him. He soared into the sky and reached the entrance of the underground passage in the blink of an eye. Diving underground, Yi Chu saw that people from the 3 bases had gathered here. It's bad. Our base is under a frenzied attack from zombies. Bossy, please save us. Our Shinfu base is being attacked by a 3rd-tier mutated beast, and our evolved fighters can barely hold on. The 3 bases once seen as enemies. At this moment, they all knelt before Yi Chu. This is the crystal cores collected from our 3 bases. Please provide us with firepower support. Yi Chu glanced down. A whole box of crystal cores. There were 1st-tier and 2nd-tier cores filling an entire box. System, analyze the energy of the crystal cores. Yi Chu immediately spoke. A box of crystal cores has an energy value of 210,000. Yi Chu's pupils shrank immediately. With this, his task was almost halfway completed. How many people from your 3 bases have come here? Yi Chu asked anxiously. 5 of us. 7 of us. 6 of us. These were all ordinary people, as the evolved fighters were busy protecting the base. Yi Chu looked around and quickly started to dig through the soil, leading these people towards the armory. The rain continued to pour down. Yi Chu arrived at the armory and pointed at several boxes of grenades and submachine guns. Hurry up and move it. More than 10 people rushed forward. A large number of weapons were loaded onto the truck. The underground passage was widened to over 10 meters. The truck roared as these people rushed towards their base. You all go first. Shinfu is under attack by a 3rd-tier mutated beast. I will go help them, and then bring the people from Shinfu to support you. Yi Chu then whistled. In the next moment, a shadow rushed over quickly. When the shadow stopped, Huido affectionately circled around Yi Chu. Having just taken on the baptism of the virus rain, Huido's strength was rapidly increasing. In this short period, it had actually reached mid-3rd-tier strength. Little guy, it's time to fight. Since evolving, Huido had never made a move. This time it was uncertain just how much potential it truly had. Rushing towards the Shinfu base, Yi Chu saw that the area outside the Shinfu base was surrounded by countless rats. At the forefront, there was a rat as large as a yellow cattle. With a swipe of its sharp claws, the hard city wall was deeply gouged. The iron gate, forged from steel, emitted a piercing sound under the assault of the sharp claws. Entering the inner city from the underground, Yi Chu saw the leader of the Shinfu base leading the evolved fighters in a desperate resistance. Their base was established in an ancient architectural city wall. It had been reinforced and became extremely solid. Their leader was Zhang Tailan. He was an evolved fighter capable of ionization. Approaching Zhang Tailan's information immediately appeared in Yi Chu's mind. Name Xiao Pingan, strength, high-level 2nd-tier, evolved fighter ability, ionization, origin leader of Shinfu base. High-level 2nd-tier. Yi Chu couldn't help but frown. Isn't it supposed to be mid-2nd tier? But soon Yi Chu understood. This virus rain might have allowed him to evolve from mid to high tier. This was also an opportunity for evolved fighters. Mr. Yi finally arrived. The cooperation during this time made Zhang Tailan have a very profound understanding of Yi Chu's strength, especially that incredible strength and the vast resources in the city. How's the situation? Yi Chu asked. It's very bad. There are too many mutated rats. Even though my ability is ironization, which allows my body to turn into steel, I don't dare to fight among the mutated rats. Zhang Tailan frowned. Moreover, most of our evolved fighters are melee fighters, and we can only rely on weapons for ranged attacks now. Yi Chu looked in, and upon seeing the mutated rat that was as large as a yellow cattle, his mouth dropped open. Huido, do you have confidence? Yi Chu looked at Huido. Oh, whoa. Huido, filled with battle intent, scratched at the ground with its front claws, seemingly wanting to shred the mutated rat. However, a crazy idea formed in Yi Chu's mind. If I can tame the leader of the mutated beasts, can I control so many mutated rats here? The beast taming technique has a usage skill. In a target's weakened state, the success rate increases significantly. In simple terms, it means to severely injure it. Leader Zhang, in the current situation, there are no other good methods other than range suppression and carpet bombing. Yi Chu said as he took out 10 boxes of bombs from his backpack. These 10 boxes of bombs are my sponsorship to help you get through this crisis. Hearing this, Zhang Tailan immediately expressed his gratitude repeatedly. Yi Chu then strung the grenades together with a rope and wore them on his body. Whoosh! With wings spread wide over 3 meters long, the momentum was imposing. Yi Chu soared into the sky, his body laden with bombs. In midair, Yi Chu pulled the rope. The bombs strung together immediately pulled the pins. 10 bombs dropped down. Boom, boom, boom. The ground was continuously exploding. Ding dong. Killed a mid-first tier mutated rat, gaining 5 energy points. Ding dong. Killed a high-level first-tier mutated rat, gaining 20 energy points. Ding dong. Killed a high-level first-tier mutated rat, gaining 20 energy points. At this moment, Yi Chu was like a bomber. With 10 boxes of bombs dropped, the number of mutated rats below immediately reduced by 2/3. Huido, it's your turn. Yi Chu shouted from the sky. Oh woo. Huido stood atop the city wall and let out a battle cry filled with intent. Below, the giant mutated rat immediately looked over with vigilance. As third-tier beasts who would ultimately prevail. A large number of mutated rats lay dead below. Yi Chu folded his wings and directly arrived at the battlefield. Everywhere were corpses. With a thought, Yi Chu made the ground roll, swallowing the bodies of the mutated rats, leaving only their crystal cores behind. It was like picking up money. Above, the people from the Divine Mansion base looked on with drool spilling from their mouths. Yet they were helpless, for they still dared not descend. No wonder, mister. You wanted to support us with 10 boxes of bombs. With so many crystal cores, even 20 boxes of bombs would be worth it. Zhang Tailan said with envy. However, despite the envy and jealousy, Yi Chu truly saved them. This was a fact that Zhang Tailan had to acknowledge. Boom. Just as Yi Chu became addicted to collecting crystal cores, Huido unleashed a powerful move. Annihilation Black Flame. This was the second time Yi Chu had witnessed Huido use the Annihilation Black Flame. The pitch black flame shot forth. The mutated rats, aware of the danger, hurriedly dodged. After all, rats were inherently agile creatures. Although this mutated rat leader was as large as a yellow cow, it did not affect its swiftness at all. The mutated rat swiftly fled with the Annihilation Black Flame closely following behind. Seeing that it could not evade, the mutated rat surprisingly spotted Yi Chu. Then it actually ran towards Yi Chu. Won't ma? So it wants to take someone down with it before it dies. Yi Chu cursed inwardly. However, soon after, Yi Chu slowly sank into the soil under the astonished gaze of the mutated rat. Watching Yi Chu sink into the ground, the mutated rat quickly hit the brakes. But it was already too late. The black flames burned its tail. Then they spread upward. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The mutated rat let out a painful howl, rolling on the ground in agony, yet it could not extinguish the flames on its body. Seeing this, Yi Chu knew the time had come. Reappearing, Yi Chu clenched his palm. The soil instantly rolled, wrapping around the mutated rat. The black flames under the soil's cover slowly extinguished. Beast Taming Technique. The incantation of the beast taming technique resonated throughout this realm. The struggling of the mutated rat gradually slowed, as if it had fallen into a deep sleep. But then the mutated rat suddenly shivered and forcefully woke from the taming state. Truly worthy of being a third-tier mutated beast. Yi Chu was astonished. The first attempt at taming had surprisingly failed. Damn it, if I don't show you some colors, you'll never know why the flowers are so red. With that, Yi Chu focused his thoughts. The soil wrapping the mutated rat directly extended hundreds of soil spikes. SSS, SSS, SSS. The soil spikes pierced into the mutated rat's body. In an instant, the soil enveloping its body was stained red. Blood flowed, and the mutated rat gradually began to lose its vital signs due to excessive blood loss. Only on the brink of death can one comprehend the true essence of life. Yi Chu scoffed and activated the beast taming technique once again. This time, the taming process went smoothly. A third-tier mutated beast successfully came under Yi Chu's command. Mutated rat, third-tier intermediate. Skills: Super Infection, Sharp Fangs, Agility. Upon seeing the information about the mutated rat, Yi Chu was instantly astonished. The infection skill of zombies was merely ordinary infection. To his surprise, the mutated rats was actually super infection. However, Yi Chu thought for a moment. Rats inherently carried many viruses. Coupled with this apocalypse virus, the formation of the super infection skill also seemed very reasonable. Super infection, the mutated rat contains over 100 types of viruses. Upon attack, it guarantees a 100 infection of uninfected targets. Oh my, it actually guarantees 100 infection. This meant that even if humans developed antibodies against this virus, they would still be infected as long as they were attacked by the mutated rat. Sharp fangs, the mutated rat possesses sharp teeth and claws that can bite through any material. Agility, the mutated rat can move quickly over short distances. Seeing this, Yi Chu quickly loosened the soil on the mutated rat. Then he used energy to help it heal. Not long after spending over 5,000 energy points, the mutated rat's injuries were effectively alleviated. Tell your little brothers to move aside, Yi Chu commanded, and the other mutated rats began to retreat like a tide. On the city wall, Zhang Tailin watched as Yi Chu approached with the mutated rat. Mr. Yi, this mutated rat? Zhang Tailin asked fearfully. It's fine, he's already scared of me and listens to my commands now. Saying this, Yi Chu even patted the mutated rat's head. Seeing Zhang Tailin still quite worried, Yi Chu used the earth element to place the mutated rat into the underground passage. Returning to the Divine Mansion base, Yi Chu hastily said, the crisis here has been resolved. I hope you can help me assist the other two bases. Zhang Tailin was suddenly put in a difficult position. This was an opportunity that would absolutely deplete their two bases. Moreover, there was a possibility that if support was delayed, they might directly face an attack on their base. However, looking at Yi Chu, Zhang Tailin still nodded. At the very least, Zhang Tailin could not afford to offend Yi Chu at this moment. Meanwhile, the Miyuan base was being besieged by tens of thousands of zombies. The Miyuan base was strategically advantageous, having only one exit. This made it much less troublesome for the zombies to attack from other directions. Well, Mr. Yi really come? Xiao Pingan asked while spraying with an AK, not turning his head. Well, he said he would bring people from the Divine Mansion base to support us. Behind him, the ordinary person who had gone to the city for help said affirmatively, the Divine Mansion base. Haha, how could Zhang Tailin possibly come to help us? Xiao Pingan sneered. Not long ago, he had even ambushed the Divine Mansion base. Zhang Tailin would definitely not come to help them. Boom. Just as Xiao Pingan pondered, a giant rock was thrown from afar. Boom. The giant rock rolled, killing several evolved beings above the valley and over 10 ordinary people. Looking further, a massive fat zombie over 5 or 6 meters tall slowly approached. This giant zombie moved slowly but possessed immense strength and could use giant rocks as weapons. Its power was no less than that of a bomb. Boom. Another giant rock was thrown over. This time it directly smashed into the mountain gate. The sturdy mountain gate was smashed open. The small zombies immediately surged in like a tide. It was as if a gap had appeared in the dam, allowing countless zombies to rush in. Explode. Xiao Pingan's complexion changed drastically as he shouted loudly. Boom. An explosion suddenly occurred at the mountain gate, rolling stones and burying the gate. This was Xiao Pingan's last resort. However, although the mountain gate was blocked, the rolling stones formed a steep slope, and the zombies continued to climb the stones to attack the Miyuan base. It's over. Xiao Pingan sighed deeply and sat down on the ground. The Miyuan base had a strategic advantage, but one downside was that there was no retreat. Behind them was a steep cliff, leaving no retreat. With zombies surrounding them, they were undoubtedly doomed. Yet just when the Miyuan base was completely despaired, bursts of gunfire came from afar. Xiao Pingan suddenly stood up. Looking closely, his face lit up with joy. But then he discovered that this troop was actually led by Zhang Tailin. In an instant, Xiao Pingan felt a mix of emotions. Caught between an inner and outer assault, the zombies were swiftly eradicated. Yet before Xiao Pingan could rejoice, Zhang Tailin leveled his icy firearm directly at him. Xiao Pingan, do you truly believe I've forgotten our grudge from last time? Zhang Tailin sneered coldly before the barricaded mountain gate. You dared ambush me. This time I'll show you exactly how formidable I am. The zombie siege had already drained much of Miyuan base's vital energy. Zhang Tailin's sudden arrival only deepened Xiao Pingan's predicament. Master Yi sent me to reinforce you, while he himself headed for Jingbei base. I've upheld my duty, I aided you in slaughtering the zombies. But now it's time we settled our old score. With that, Zhang Tailin fired a shot straight at Xiao Pingan. Yet Xiao Pingan's forces held the high ground, a natural stronghold, and repelled the initial assault. Above, a stalemate ensued, neither side gaining advantage. In truth, Zhang Tailin had originally intended to let the zombies weaken Miyuan base first, then intervene only once it lay in ruins. But upon reflection, he realized that if Mi Yuan base fell entirely, even his own troops would stand no chance against the zombies. So he chose instead to ally temporarily with Mi Yuan base, eliminate the undead together, and only then settle accounts. Meanwhile, Yi Chu, accompanied by Huodou, successfully rescued Meng, Hu, and his group. Someone had to restore order to the battlefield. Crystalline cores littered the ground everywhere. This battle was both calamity and blessing. And the 20,000 energy points pooled by the three allied factions, used to purchase weapons, had now been nearly exhausted. Before long, they would reinvest their spoils to replenish arms and supplies. The rain finally ceased. When Yi Chu rushed back, he found Mi Yuan base already breached. Yi Chu's brow furrowed. He'd anticipated Zhang Tialin's move, but never imagined Xiao Pingan would collapse so utterly. Mi Yuan base stood deserted. Everything within had been seized by Zhang Tialin. At Shinfu base, the narrative pivoted. There Yi Chu watched Zhang Tialin sorting through all the supplies looted from Mi Yuan base. I dispatched you to reinforce them, not to attack them. Yi Chu's expression darkened as he rebuked him. Master Yi, I did reinforce them. Zhang Tialin replied, utterly nonchalant. The zombies are dead. I fulfilled my reinforcement. Settling scores with Xiao Pingan afterward is neither unjust nor unreasonable. Yi Chu fell silent, speechless. The old fox had planned this from the outset. And where is Xiao Pingan now? Yi Chu asked, resigned. He fled Zhang Tialin's side. What? Yi Chu jerked his head up sharply. His ability is too uncanny, conjuring vast swathes of impenetrable darkness. I simply couldn't counter it. Zhang Tialin sighed again. Leaving the route intact meant he'd never sleep soundly again. Xiao Pingan was a man who repaid every slight. Vengeance would surely return. Master Yi, you saved us because we serve your interests. Rest assured, now that I've absorbed Mi Yuan base, my resource demands will grow accordingly. I shall become your most valuable partner yet. Zhang Tialin thumped his chest emphatically. Yi Chu nodded reluctantly. List your requirements and place the crystalline cores in the vehicle. I'll have everything prepared on my end. Yi Chu then departed Shinfu base. Yet upon entering the city proper, he unexpectedly encountered Xiao Pingan. Xiao Pingan. Yi Chu approached astonished. Master Yi, the wretch Zhang Tialin ambushed me. Xiao Pingan spat, seething with hatred. What are your plans now? Yi Chu asked. Yulin City offers me no refuge. I'm heading for Chang'an Central Base. Xiao Pingan's gaze turned glacial. I need your help, but this time I lack the means to pay. Still, if you trust me when I rise again, I'll repay you tenfold, even 100-fold. What do you require? Yi Chu nodded and asked. Food, water, weapons. To Yi Chu's astonishment, Xiao Pingan possessed a spatial storage vessel, an exceedingly rare artifact, forged by spatial attribute adepts using their innate power, though outwardly resembling a ring or other ornament. Its internal expanse was vast beyond appearance. Yi Chu fully provisioned Xiao Pingan and watched him depart Yulin City. Live or die, it's in your hands now. This was an investment far ahead of its time. Yet Yi Chu believed, if Xiao Pingan truly reached Chang'an unscathed, he might well carve out a legendary destiny. Back at the supermarket, Yi Chu found Meng Qiyuan and the others had collected copious rainwater, enough to fill an entire swimming pool. Splash! Yi Chu dove straight into the water. Energy 1. Energy 1. Energy 1. System alerts chimed incessantly in his ears. Yi Chu watched his energy tally climb and smiled with quiet satisfaction. Ding! Host physiology has mutated viral antibodies generated. Viruses will no longer yield energy. Yi Chu froze. Just like that. Meaning all that painstakingly gathered rainwater had just lost its value. He calculated from the moment he began standing in the rain to now swimming in it, he'd accrued roughly 10,000 energy points. I wonder, have Huodou Sandeji, the mutated rats and sparrows, likewise developed viral immunity? Yi Chu summoned Huodou immediately. Splash! Huodou leapt in without hesitation. Previously drenched, he'd ascended to Tier 3, mid-rank. This time submerged, Yi Chu watched Huodou's required energy threshold fluctuate rapidly. Huodou Tier 3, mid-rank 2500. Skills: Spirit, Nose, Keen Ears, Claw, Pounce, Death, Bite, Apocalypse, Black Flame. Advancement to Tier 3, high rank, requires 200,000 energy points. After merely swimming briefly, his tally rose by 2,500, then halted entirely. Yi Chu understood Huodou had reached saturation. Next, Yi Chu immersed Sandaji and the mutated rats. Once they too hit saturation, he called forth the sparrows. A dense flock of sparrows plunged in. Yi Chu observed each ascend, from Tier 2, low rank, to Tier 2, mid-rank. Thus, even an ordinary sparrow now surpassed Yi Chu in rank. Moreover, their carrying capacity had multiplied several times over. Autumn rain left the air crisp and clear. The next day dawned cloudless and brilliant. Yet across the city, the lowest tier zombies had all evolved to Tier 2, low rank. Matching Yichu's own level, they were no longer susceptible to his zombie sovereign command. War profiteering was no myth. In a single day, Yichu had completed half his daily revenue quota. With 15 days remaining until mission completion, such opportunities would likely dwindle. It's time to elevate the shop's renown, Yichu murmured, sighing. Relying solely on 2 nearby minor bases could no longer sustain operations. At present, Yichu resembled a rural fruit farmer, abundant harvest in hand, yet no market to sell it. Just then he recalled the newly unlocked Tier 3 shop upgrade privileges. Material Intelligence Analysis. Activating the analysis interface, Yichu was instantly stunned by the data flooding his vision. The Chang'an base is under siege from zombies, but the walls are severely damaged and require a large labor force. Currently, the food reserves at the Chang'an base are in crisis, causing food prices to soar. The personal base in Yinchang City has been attacked by zombies, and several neighboring county bases have begun to launch assaults. The personal base in Yinchang City has sought help from the Chang'an base in vain and is in urgent need of weapons. As he analyzed the information about these supplies, Yichu's eyes gradually lit up. Knowing the terrain leads to victory, and choosing the right location brings wealth. This information is like silver laid out before him. Yichu never expected that this analysis of supplies would be so powerful. However, the biggest problem now is how to make them aware of his existence. This requires advertising. But in this apocalyptic world, news is cut off, and the only means of communication is broadcasting. Yes, broadcast. Yichu's eyes brightened. If he could insert an advertisement into the broadcast, it would be perfect. Unfortunately, Yichu couldn't crack the broadcast system and insert it as a hacker. Currently, all broadcasts are issued by the Chang'an base. If there were people at the Chang'an base, it would be easy. Since this route is not feasible, he would have to find another way. Suddenly, Yichu thought of the most primitive form of advertising: flyers. Decoration companies plaster small ads everywhere on the doors and walls of new buildings. Just walking past and glancing at them can have a significant effect. Thinking of this, Yichu immediately began to take action. There are many discarded and unusable typing and copying machines in the city. Yichu found a generator and restarted it. As the machine continued to operate, Yichu worked tirelessly throughout the night, printing out 1 million small advertisement cards. Yichu's general store daily necessities: rice, flour, oil, salt, cigarettes, and snacks. Military supplies: AK-47, grenades, M4A1, various shotgun sniper rifles. Note: if needed, please place crystal coins in the box behind the sparrow. The back of the card also lists the prices of various items. After preparing these items, Yichu summoned all the sparrows. Each sparrow carried a stack of cards totaling tens of thousands. Over 5,000 sparrows flew together, with Yichu following behind. Arriving at Yinchang City, Yichu looked down at the urban area from several kilometers in the sky. The city-level base truly lives up to its name. Compared to the 3 small bases in Yulin City, it is like a father. The base in Yinchang City has completely surrounded the area that was originally lost. The number of survivors is at least over 200,000. However, due to the recent virus mutation, the base with the most survivors is also facing the most severe siege. Yichu looked down and found that more than 3 small bases were attacking Yinchang City. Each of these small bases had a population of tens of thousands. Advertising mode activate. Yichu commanded. The 5,000 sparrows quickly shook. All the advertisement cards on them were immediately dropped. A rain of advertisements covered the entire Yinchang City. Don't you need weapons? As long as there is money, there is plenty here. Yichu was worried they would not believe him on their first business transaction. He was even more worried that they would launch an attack on the mutated sparrows. Therefore, after all the advertisements were sent out, Yichu first called down 100 sparrows. He instructed the other sparrows to remain on standby at a distance. Yichu found a secluded spot and, using earth element control, burrowed into the ground. Entering the Yinchang City area from underground, Yichu listened carefully to their movements. What is this? Why are there so many small cards? Daily necessities. AK-47. Is this for real? The entire Yinchang City was buzzing with discussions about this matter. The highest leader of Yinchang City also discovered the 100 sparrows that had entered the city area at the first moment. As the advertisement stated, there really is a small box behind the sparrows meant for storing crystal nuclei. Leader, could this be a scheme from another base? An evolved individual asked worriedly. No. The leader of Yinchang City immediately dismissed it. They wouldn't be so bored to do such a thing, and they also lack the capability. If they had that ability, what they would drop would be bombs. So is it real? In this apocalyptic crisis, how could anyone sell such precious items? Why not? Should we give it a try? Yes, I saw it. The prices on the cards are indeed higher than the previous market prices, but due to this virus mutation, the market price has doubled. Compared to that, the prices on the cards are relatively cheap. Seeing this, the leader frowned and then nodded. Subsequently, someone took out crystal coins, placed them into a sparrow's box, and attached a list of the items they wanted. 1 AK. They weren't foolish, they only paid for 1 AK. Even if the sparrows flew away and never returned, they would only lose a few crystal coins. But if this is real, then Yinchang City would be saved. Look, what is that? Just then an evolved individual suddenly exclaimed. Everyone looked up and saw a sparrow flying down with an AK. After landing, the sparrow dropped the AK it was holding onto the ground. Then it flew away. It's real. Immediately someone rushed over to pick up the weapon. After a quick inspection, that person excitedly walked up to the leader. Leader, this gun is real. Upon hearing this, a gleam of light shone in the leader's eyes. Looking further, there were still over 90 sparrows quietly waiting. Try again, but this time get more items. The leader instructed. Soon someone took a lot of crystal coins and placed a list and coins in the boxes of 20 sparrows. Before long, the sparrows returned, bringing the items they needed. Yichu couldn't help but smile at this. These guys are really cautious. Ding dong. Sale successful, extra 20 energy value commission earned. Ding dong. Sale successful, extra 20 energy value commission earned. Ding dong. Sale successful, extra 20 energy value commission earned. Each time a sparrow returned, a notification rang in Yichu's mind. This time, order 100 AKs directly. The leader's words made everyone tense up. The price of 100 AKs is indeed considerable. However, for a city-level base, it is merely a drop in the bucket. Their tension stemmed from the fear of being deceived. They were worried this was a scheme from another base. However, looking at the plethora of weapons and grenades on the ground, they were tempted. 100 AKs, 10 boxes of grenades, 50 boxes of bullets. The revenue from this order directly exceeded 100,000. Flap, flap, thousands of sparrows flew in. Everyone in Yinchang City immediately grew tense. Crack, crack. Some people directly picked up their weapons and aimed at the sky. But when the sparrows got closer, they saw that the sparrows were carrying a large number of weapons. The tiny sparrows carrying boxes of ammunition weighing over 50 pounds landed amid everyone's astonished gazes. Ding dong. Completed an order with revenue exceeding 100,000, extra reward of 10,000 energy value. The transaction in Yinchang City made everyone remember the name Yichu General Store. Yichu left a few sparrows in Yinchang City. The leader of Yinchang City immediately understood what it meant. With the current information blockade, these sparrows were the tools for sending orders. Yichu took a look and realized that there was only 1 week left until the 1-month deadline. Currently, he still needed 200,000 to reach the target of 500,000 in revenue. 200,000, 200,000. Yichu was anxiously pacing back and forth. The main base in Chang'an needed supplies, but it was the main base. There were evolvers above level 6 stationed there. If the sparrows went over and were wiped out, it would be disastrous. Moreover, Yichu seriously suspected that the virus rain was related to the virus that Xiaohua and Du Bingyang brought back. It is known that the entire world has only 10 strains of the virus left. Furthermore, this rain was artificially induced, originating from the Chang'an main base. All these connections could be related to the agents they brought back. The only thing Yichu could do was wait. He was waiting for the news from Yinchang City to spread across the entire province. By then, without Yichu having to seek out customers, people would naturally come to him for supplies. Of course, Yichu could also charge extra for the delivery. This money could also be kept out of the system's account. This was the delivery fee. When they came seeking supplies, they certainly wouldn't be able to take so many things. Yichu delivering goods and charging a delivery fee was perfectly justifiable. Therefore, this was indirectly exploiting a loophole in the system. Meanwhile, while Yichu was waiting, all the high-level evolvers gathered in the political hall of the Chang'an main base. Xiao, do you say there is another strain of the virus in Xiaohua's hands? The head of the main base was directly appointed from the Yanjing main base and was also a high-level evolver. That's right. A woman in white nodded. This person was Du Bingyang. At that time, Xiaohua and I were tricked by that guy out of 500 or 600 crystal coins, with each of us only bringing back 1 strain of the virus, while 8 others are still in his hands. Immediately send someone to retrieve all 8 strains of the virus. The head of the main base, Secretary C, said coldly. Don't be careless. At that moment, Du Bingyang suddenly stepped forward to stop them. This person's strength is unfathomable. I estimate he is at least above a level 4 evolver. What? A level 4 evolver? That's enough to support a personal city-level base. The hall was in an uproar. Xiao Du, is what you said true? Yu Shinfeng asked solemnly. With one slap, he sent the mid-level Xiaohua flying. How strong do you think he is, eh? Du Bingyang looked around at everyone. Everyone nodded in agreement. This is impossible. At that moment, a middle-aged man in military uniform stood up. I was the military commander stationed in Yulin City, and I know exactly how many weapons Yulin City had. It's nowhere near what Xiao Du said. This person was actually a high-ranking leader who retreated from Yulin City to the Chang'an main base. Then how do you explain the weapons I brought back? Du Bingyang responded. The head of the main base suddenly fell silent. He had seen this batch of weapons, and they were definitely not the ones they had originally possessed. It was as if this batch of weapons had materialized out of thin air. Dingling. At that moment, a harsh ringing sound echoed through the hall. Everyone couldn't help but furrow their brows. Yu Xinfeng's secretary quickly answered the phone. Okay, I understand. After a moment, the secretary hung up and opened the computer. The projector displayed the images from the computer onto the wall, and everyone looked on in confusion. In the image, countless sparrows were flying, each carrying a large number of weapons and ammunition. What? What is going on? Yu Xinfeng immediately asked in confusion. This is footage sent back from the personal base in Yinchang City. The secretary explained. Yinchang City was attacked by more than 3 county-level personal bases yesterday. Due to the previous assault by mutated zombies, they suffered a loss of weapons. But today, countless small advertisement cards suddenly appeared in the sky stating Yichu General Store, including many daily necessities and weapons. The secretary paused before continuing. The evolvers in Yinchang City began to doubt, but after seeing that the mutated sparrows posed no threat, they followed the marked prices and placed crystal coins into the boxes carried by the sparrows. At this point, the secretary seemed to feel incredulous. Who would have thought that the sparrows really came back with weapons? Round and round Yinchang City spent a large sum of crystal coins to buy from the sparrows, which then brought countless weapons back to Yinchang City, allowing them to avert disaster. Upon seeing this, Du Bingyang immediately said, "This batch of weapons is the same as the ones I brought back, and the owner of this Yichu General Store is named Yichu." Everyone fell silent. Yu Xinfeng said solemnly, "It seems this person must possess a large number of weapons and supplies that we do not know about. I suggest organizing an army of evolvers to forcibly seize him and bring this Yichu in for questioning." The former military commander of Yulin City immediately stood up. Slap. Yu Xinfeng slammed his palm on the table. "In this apocalypse, do you think you can act like those ordinary people strong enough to avoid spending money?" Yu Xinfeng was furious and no one could withstand his wrath. After a moment, he ordered, "Send someone to contact this Yichu offering a high price to buy back the virus. Additionally, we need weapons and supplies. This procurement task will be assigned to Du Bingyang." Yu Xinfeng commanded in an unrefusable tone. "Yes." Du Bingyang immediately stood up. Helicopters roared to life as dozens of helicopters took off from the Chang'an main base. However, they had only flown 20 miles when they were attacked by mutated flying creatures. After losing 3 helicopters, Du Bingyang's remaining team had no choice but to retreat to the main base. It seemed the road to Yulin City was not easy. If the air route was not feasible, they would take the land route. With a command from Du Bingyang, a team of 200 evolvers set off towards Yulin City. At this moment, Yichu finally received his first order after the advertisement effect. "Hello, is this Mr. Yi?" A few pickup trucks stopped outside Yulin City. They couldn't enter because it was too dangerous inside. Reluctantly, they had to use a detonating grenade to lure Yichu out. Seeing these disheveled individuals, Yichu immediately greeted them with a smile. "Gentlemen, you must have suffered quite a bit on the way. It's all right, we lost over 50 people, but finally made it here." The leader of the convoy wiped the sweat from his brow and said with difficulty, "After all that hardship, let's hurry into the city." However, the leader waved his hand and then took out a familiar advertisement. "Mr. Yi, do you have everything listed here?" "What are you saying? Open the door for business. How could I lie? Absolutely complete, high quality and low price." Before Yichu could finish speaking, the leader took out several cloth bags from the truck. Bang! The bags landed on the truck bed with a loud thud. "Mr. Yi, how many weapons and food can these crystal cores buy?" Yichu's eyes lit up and he hurried over. "A pile of crystal cores worth 13000 energy points. Wow, 130,000. Yichu's eyes brightened and he said excitedly, "For our first collaboration, I'll give you a 20 discount, but it seems your vehicle can't accommodate it." Upon hearing this, the leader's eyes widened from their squinted state. "Additionally, I'll throw in 5 boxes of hand grenades." "That's great." The leader excitedly grasped Yichu's arm with a strong grip. Calm down, calm down." Yichu waved his hand and said, "Furthermore, we also offer door-to-door delivery. If you can't carry it, we can send it via express delivery." "Express delivery? Is there still express delivery in the apocalypse?" The leader asked incredulously. "Of course. Have you heard about the situation in Yinchang City? That was my express delivery." Yichu smiled. Yes. I just came from Yinchang City. They received your weapons and left us severely beaten." Hearing this, Yichu couldn't help but laugh. It turned out these people were the ones who had initially besieged Yinchang City. But the express delivery does come with a fee. Yichu rubbed his fingers together. "This?" The leader suddenly looked troubled. "This is all we have." Boss, don't you have that stone? Can't you use it as the delivery fee?" At that moment, a small person behind the leader suddenly spoke up. "What nonsense are you talking about?" The leader's expression changed, and he poked the small person. Seeing this, Yichu squinted his eyes. There's something What stone? Yichu feigned confusion and asked. Oh, it's nothing. The leader hurriedly waved his hands to explain. Yichu didn't delve deeper. Some things must be slowly coaxed out right. Leading these people into the city, they were quite surprised as to why the surrounding zombies didn't attack them. On the way here, zombies from other areas had made them anxious. Big brother, are the zombies domesticated? The leader boldly asked. They're free range. I often feed them, once they get familiar they become loyal. In their big brother. Yichu explained, suppressing his laughter. In reality, he had already improved his strength to a third-tier evolver. This was worth over 100,000. Otherwise, the brothers in this city wouldn't obey. Arriving at the large supermarket, these people were left speechless by the scale of Yichu's supermarket. Oh my goodness. This supermarket is so big it can feed us for years. Wow, look at those lobsters. Holy crap, my favorite erguado. Big brother, what's the price tag on this? Yeah, what is energy value? Yichu explained, it's what you brought, crystal nuclei. But those aren't authentic. I still need to appraise them. I charge in crystal coins. 1 crystal coin equals 100 energy values. Do you see that? Hearing Yichu's explanation, everyone suddenly realized. Wow, so that means a bottle of erguado costs 2 crystal coins. With that money I could buy 10 women. What did you say? Buy women? Yichu frowned. Yes. In the apocalypse, non-evolver women are a vulnerable group. They can't do much except one skill, spreading their legs and screaming. Currently, slightly larger bases have women in captivity. 1 crystal coin buys 5 women. Yichu twitched his lips. Is this still considered human? By the way, where can I buy them? The crowd was instantly stunned by Yichu's words. Don't misunderstand, do I want to rescue them? Ignoring them, Yichu said. Feel free to look, I told you the prices. For that pile of crystal nuclei, you brought, I'll appraise it at 13000 energy values. Take what you want. 13000. Everyone's eyes widened. Mr. Yi, are you sure that according to these prices we can get things worth 13000? Absolutely. Yichu said solemnly. Brothers, move it. The leader howled and immediately began to carry rice and flour. Yichu didn't bother with them ahead, settle the accounts later. Hey, watch out for this expense. Don't you need weapons? Yichu reminded. Right. The leader suddenly realized and shouted, everyone stop. Everyone gathered, and the leader said, Mr. Yi, take us to see the weapons. Yichu nodded, and then led everyone to the armory. Seeing so many weapons, their eyes sparkled with excitement. Just like the supermarket, all items are priced to take what you want. After a round of shopping, they spent every last bit of the 13000 energy values. Unfortunately, in the end they encountered a problem. Their pickup truck couldn't hold all the items they had bought. A few pickup trucks could only carry half of the supplies. What? Should we leave some behind? The leader suddenly looked troubled. Can't fit it. Yichu smiled as he walked over. We have express delivery services, we can deliver it within a day. But we don't have any crystal nuclei left. The leader showed a troubled expression. Then there's no choice, there's no way you can carry so much stuff. If you encounter a zombie attack, you'll have your life to buy, but no life to spend. Yichu spread his hands, expressing his helplessness. Do you support cash on delivery? The leader asked hopefully. However, Yichu shook his head. Are you joking? Cash on delivery. This is the apocalypse. What if you don't pay when it arrives? Our store does not offer credit. Boss, why not give that stone to Mr. Yi? At that moment, the small person behind piped up with a suggestion. But this time the leader looked troubled. What stone? Why are you so reluctant? If it's really a good item, not only will I deliver it, but I'll also give you 10 boxes of grenades. Yichu made an extremely tempting offer. After a long pause, the leader nodded vigorously. Mr. Yi'll give you the stone, but you have to give me 10 boxes of universal bullets. Don't try to fool me with a worthless stone. 10 boxes of bullets. Yichu scoffed, shaking his head dismissively. This is a truly valuable item. Seeing Yichu's disbelief, the leader took out the stone from his chest. The stone was strung on a red thread around his neck. It was an irregular walnut-sized black stone, exuding a dark sheen resembling a gem, but with a bumpy texture. This is... Yichu took it and examined it closely. Upon holding it, he immediately felt a surge of energy emanating from the stone. Using the system to inspect it, Yichu's pupils immediately constricted. Ida gem emits 1 energy value per minute available for absorption. The gem accumulates energy on its own. Upon reaching 1000, it can be used on a designated target, guaranteeing the awakening of an ability. Upon reaching 5000, it can release Ida rays, dealing 80 damage to any target. What the hell? Yichu's heart was in turmoil, but his expression remained as calm as a mountain. Hey, it's just an ordinary energy mineral similar in effect to gene serums. It can awaken abilities or enhance an evolver's strength, but its effect is not significant equivalent to a mid-level gene serum. Yichu shook it and then handed it back. How about this? Will give you a maximum of 5 boxes of bullets, and it'll handle the delivery of everything to you. Is that too little? The leader said hesitantly. It's not too little. Next time you come, he'll still give you a 20 discount. Yi Chu took the gem from his hand and said, all right, then he'll trouble you, Mr. Yi. Seemingly making a significant decision, the leader nodded heavily. Upon hearing this, Yi Chu hurriedly packed the stone into his backpack. Now no one could snatch it away from him. A massive army of sparrows flew in. Under the astonished gaze of the leader, he took away all the goods. Watching them leave, Yi Chu let out a long sigh of relief. Seeing them completely depart, Yi Chu rushed back to the supermarket and began to study the stone carefully. The reason that person felt this stone was precious was because this stone emitted energy every minute. This was immensely beneficial for evolutionists. Yi Chu studied it meticulously with a magnifying glass. Although he still couldn't understand it, it appeared relatively professional. Ada Gem 950 exudes a bit of energy value every minute available for absorption. The gem accumulates energy on its own, reaching 1000, allows use on a designated target, resulting in a 100 awakening of abilities. The gem accumulates energy on its own, reaching 5000, can release Ada rays, inflicting 80 damage on any target. Yi Chu observed the gem's attributes through the system. Behind the attributes of the gem, there was another number. This number should represent the energy currently accumulated by the gem. Reaching 1000 energy can guarantee a 100 awakening of abilities. I just wonder if this energy can be input from the outside, Yi Chu murmured. If it could indeed be input from the outside, then Yi Chu could make everyone an evolutionist. Then the world would be saved. But soon Yi Chu discovered that this stone couldn't accept external energy input. This is going to be troublesome. Yi Chu immediately felt troubled, especially the last Ada ray, which could inflict 80 damage on any target. This meant that even a 10th tier evolutionist could be severely injured. Just thinking about it filled him with inexplicable excitement. Accumulating a bit of energy each minute, 5000 would be. 5000 minutes is 83. 33 hours. 83. 33 hours is 472 days. Over 3 days isn't too much. Additionally, if the accumulated energy isn't used, it can also be withdrawn for use. Then Yi Chu changed to another rope and wore it around his neck. Ding. Task completed. Achieve a sales volume of 500 within a month. Reward of 100 energy value. Ding. Task released. Achieve a sales volume of 10 million within a year. At this moment, the system's voice sounded. A year. 10 million. Yi Chu's eyes widened instantly. However, at this rate, achieving 10 million in a year isn't impossible. Then Yi Chu quickly opened the attribute panel. Host Yi Chu. Level low 3rd tier 0200000. Store China Resources Supermarket CF Armory Gene Gu Script Store. Authority 3rd tier 010000000. Energy 140000. Task Ding. Task released. Achieve a sales volume of 10 million within a year. Note in the affiliated store, the owner is in an invincible state and can control the number of people entering the supermarket. No way. The energy is still too low. Yi Chu immediately felt troubled. From low 3rd tier, it takes 200 energy value to upgrade to mid 3rd tier. And that authority actually requires 1 million. Who knows how long it will take to upgrade to 4th tier authority? And who knows what kinds of stores would be opened at 4th tier authority? Since nothing could be upgraded, Yi Chu turned his attention to the script. Arriving at the Gene Gu Script Store, Yi Chu focused on the star absorption technique. The star absorption technique is different from the Northern Underworld Divine Art. Its completeness is not as high as the Northern Underworld Divine Art. The reason for choosing the star absorption technique is that it consumes less energy for upgrades. Ding. Star absorption technique learned successfully. Learning is free, but upgrading requires consuming energy value. The upgrade of the star absorption technique, although inexpensive, has a drawback. That is, after absorbing energy, there is a backlash side effect. Although the Northern Underworld Divine Art can also absorb energy, it is not as domineering as the star absorption technique. The principle of the star absorption technique is that the larger your Dantian capacity, the more energy you can absorb. Thus, the script introduces that you must ensure your Dantian is always like an empty box, constantly like a deep valley. However, whether it is the drawback or the Dantian capacity, these are handled by the system. Therefore, Yi Chu doesn't have to worry at all. Once the energy reaches a certain standard, Yi Chu can naturally level up. Thus, this always like an empty box, constantly like a deep valley, means for Yi Chu it's as vast as the universe. As long as there is energy, Yi Chu can absorb infinitely. Ding. Star absorption technique learned successfully, currently at level 1. Star absorption technique can absorb 10 of any target's energy, casting distance 1 meter. The star absorption technique has a total of 10 levels. Yi Chu guessed that upon reaching level 10, he might be able to directly absorb 100 of the energy. Yi Chu exited the supermarket. Looking at a nearby zombie, he smiled. He walked over and when he was about a meter away from the zombie, extended his right hand in a claw-like manner and began to activate the star absorption technique. Suddenly, Yi Chu saw strands of energy being drawn out from the zombie's body. Then they merged into his hand, integrating into Yi Chu's body. Energy 1. Energy 1. Energy 1. A series of prompts echoed in his mind. After about 10 seconds of absorption, Yi Chu realized he couldn't draw any more. This was likely the limit of 10%. After losing 10% of its energy, that zombie's level actually dropped to first tier high level. Yi Chu was very dissatisfied with the first tier of the star absorption technique. Looking at the energy value needed for upgrades, Yi Chu clicked to upgrade without hesitation. Ding! Star absorption technique upgraded successfully, currently at level 2. Yi Chu looked at it and instantly smiled. Star absorption technique can absorb 20 of any target's energy, casting distance 2 meters. Indeed, after reaching level 2, the absorption amount increased to 20%. Moreover, the casting distance also grew to 2 meters. To reach level 3, he needed 5,000 energy. Yi Chu currently had over 1,000 energy value, so he clicked to upgrade without hesitation. Ding! Upgrade successful. Ding! Upgrade successful. Ding! Upgrade successful. In one go, Yi Chu upgraded the star absorption technique to level 5. This absorption amount reached 50%. Star absorption technique can absorb 50 of any target's energy, casting distance 5 meters. Looking at the energy value needed for further upgrades, Yi Chu helplessly gave up. Because to reach level 6, it actually required 1,000 energy value. Now Yi Chu had already spent 1,000 energy value to reach level 5. If I upgrade to level 10 max, will the distance extend to 10 meters? If it could reach a casting distance of 100 meters, how great would it be to absorb high-tier mutated beasts hiding far away? Yi Chu thought to himself. Then he looked at his energy value side and began to absorb energy vigorously, intending to recoup the energy value he had consumed. In the days that followed, Yi Chu absorbed the energy of the zombies while beginning to repair the surrounding environment. He dismantled all the buildings around the supermarket and erected a wall. He also planted vegetation in the open space, including the seeds of the mutated fruit that the sparrow had first given to him. Yi Chu had the sparrows search extensively and surprisingly found over 100 seeds. If these were to grow, it would undoubtedly be a bountiful harvest. A month passed, and Yi Chu's super garden in the city center gradually took shape. Additionally, Yi Chu excavated a 50-meter-wide pond in another open area. In the pond, he released over 100 mutated piranhas. These piranhas, trained under the beast taming technique, obeyed Yi Chu's commands. Carrying 50 pounds of meat, Yi Chu cut off a piece weighing over 5 pounds and tossed it into the pond. Splash! Instantly, the surface of the water churned as nearly 100 piranhas leapt out, tearing off a large chunk of meat in one bite, swallowing it whole without even chewing. Recently, Yi Chu's life nurturing flowers, feeding fish, and sipping tea had become quite delightful. What is that? At that moment, Yi Chu suddenly noticed that one of the piranhas had a small bulge on its abdomen. With a thought, the mutated piranha swam over. After mutation, the piranha was about the size of a cat with terrifying sharp teeth that struck fear into one's heart. Picking it up for a closer inspection, Yi Chu touched it. Upon touching, he discovered that the bulge was indeed swollen, but he couldn't tell what was inside. Checking with the system, Yi Chu found that this piranha was on the verge of evolving again. Piranha Second Tier Advanced 999910000 Skills Bite. Looking at the energy value behind it, this piranha was just a little short of energy for evolution. Seeing this, Yi Chu directly forced the piranha to evolve with energy. Ding! Piranha evolution successful. Current level is 3rd tier low. Looking again, Yi Chu noticed that the bulge on the piranha's abdomen had burst open and 2 small legs had grown out from inside. Piranha Second Tier Advanced 020000 Skills Bite. Land Walking. Land walking. The piranha has evolved legs and can walk on land for an hour, after which it must return to water to replenish moisture. It can actually walk. Yi Chu slowly placed the piranha on the ground. Perhaps it was its first time walking. The piranha stumbled like a child learning to walk. After taking just 1 step, it fell to the ground. However, after a few more steps, the piranha surprisingly learned to run. Moreover, it was quite fast, roughly on par with an adult running. Goodness, if fish can walk on land, humans are in trouble. Thinking of the many creatures in the ocean, if they could all come ashore, wouldn't that leave no place for humans to inhabit? Yi Chu pondered further and felt increasingly that this was not an impossible thing. In this era of global insecurity, if one day they gained the power to protect themselves, after civilization gradually recovered, humanity from various countries would still have to meet. When that time comes, the dangers from the sea would be a tremendous threat. After releasing the piranha back into the pond, Yi Chu tossed the remaining meat into it. Bang! At that moment, Yi Chu suddenly heard a faint gunshot. A woo-woo. Meanwhile, Sandetsi suddenly returned from outside. Master, I found a human, and this human is followed by a group of about 50 people. So many people. Yichu was instantly delighted, thinking they had come to purchase supplies. However, when he approached, he discovered that this group was actually chasing a young man with a sniper rifle. This one person with a gun could kill someone from several miles away with a single shot. Wow, how powerful. Yichu flapped his wings and hovered in the air 100 meters high, marveling at this person. Just then a bullet suddenly flew up from below at high speed. Yichu had not reacted yet when he was directly hit. This bullet had tremendous power. Were it not for Yichu wearing a bulletproof vest and practicing the iron cloth technique, that shot could have sent him plummeting. At this moment, the sniper on the ground furrowed his brow. Strange, I clearly hit him. Why does this evolved one seem unaffected? In the next moment, a golden light suddenly flashed in this person's eyes. His entire pupil turned golden. At this moment in this person's eyes, even a strand of Yichu's hair appeared vividly. This person was undoubtedly an evolved one with eye mutations. Coupled with his perfect aim with the sniper rifle, it was truly a case of hitting wherever he pointed. Upon seeing this, the sniper's expression changed from confusion to ecstatic joy. Young master, is that you, young master? The sniper shouted loudly from below. Yichu saw from above that this person was actually calling him. Descending to a certain height, Yichu surprisingly heard this person shouting for him as young master. What era is it that there are still young masters? Besides, do I even know you? Yichu activated the iron cloth technique and then approached this person. Do you know me? Young master, I finally found you. This person had dark skin and was lean, appearing to have come from a military background. As he spoke, he was overwhelmed with emotion and directly knelt down before Yichu. Young master, I am Jiangsun, your best brother. Have you forgotten? At that moment, Yichu heard the name Jiangsun. Suddenly, he felt a wave of unfamiliar memories slowly emerging from the depths of his mind. Jiangsun, the Iron Blood Special Forces. A sniper known as Eagle Eye. Slowly, memories of the person in front of him began to take shape in Yichu's mind. Seeing Yichu's bewildered expression, this person claiming to be Jiangsun immediately pulled out a photo. Curiously, Yichu looked over. To his surprise, the photo showed him alongside Jiangsun. Combining this with the fragmented memories in his mind, Yichu could confirm that he indeed had some relationship with him. Young master, before the virus mutated, you came to Yulin City for cancer treatment. The gene serum from Tianka Bio could cure your illness, but at that time we received news that your cancer was indeed cured, but due to a defect in the gene serum, you lost part of your memory. Jiangsun explained excitedly. After the mutation, the old master spared no expense to send someone to Yulin City to find you, but thousands of people died without leaving the Yenjing central base. At this moment, Yichu gradually understood one thing. That is, his soul had crossed into this world rather than his body crossing into this world. In other words, this body originally did not belong to him. Instead, it belonged to someone else with the same name. Moreover, the most important thing was that the owner of this body seemed to have an extraordinary background. Boom, boom, boom. The roar of the cars gradually approached. Jiangsun instantly snapped out of his overwhelming joy and picked up the sniper rifle, positioning himself protectively in front of Yichu. Young master, these people are from a base in Yinchang City. After I left the main base in Yinjing, they robbed me of everything when I passed through Yinchang City. I killed 2 of them, but I didn't expect these bastards to follow me all the way here. Yichu glanced over and did not recognize these people. However, they were likely one of the personal bases that attacked the Yinchang base not long ago. It's okay, you will be safe once we reach Yulin City. Yichu patted Jiangsun on the shoulder and stepped in front of him. Everyone, are you here to buy something? I am the owner of Yichu's General Store. Since they were from around Yinchang City, they would definitely know the name of Yichu's General Store. You are the owner of Yichu's General Store. A muscular, one-eyed man stepped out from the group of 50. He held a shotgun and swaggered over. A month ago, the supplies that Zhang Chong and the others obtained were bought from you, right? The one-eyed man asked. Zhang Chong. Yichu thought for a moment and immediately recalled the person who had given him the Ada gemstone. Yes, that's right. After they got the supplies and weapons, they became very formidable, didn't they? I can tell you about my family's weapons. Buy a hammer. The one-eyed man burst into laughter. In my eyes, the concept of buying doesn't exist. As he spoke, the one-eyed man suddenly raised his shotgun and pointed it at Yichu's forehead. Lead the way. Fill my truck with everything. Yichu raised his hands and smiled, saying, this is going too far. Are you going to move or not? The one-eyed man growled fiercely. All right, I'm going. Yichu nodded and exchanged a glance with Jiangsun. The two immediately turned and walked towards the city center. They brought the group to the city center. When these people saw that such a large garden had been developed in the city center, they were instantly shocked into silence. Boss, how about we just stay here? One of the younger members said, looking around. This is much better than the cave we have. Strange, there are so many zombies outside, why don't they come here? The cautious one-eyed man immediately sensed that something was amiss. Although there were walls here, they were only a little over 2 meters high, which were nothing but paper for the second stage, evolved zombies. Supermarket Arms Depot. The conspicuous sign immediately caught the attention of these people. However, when they walked over, they found the door was locked and could not be opened at all. Bang! One of them fired a shot at the lock. In this apocalypse, violence had been unleashed without end. For these people, there was nothing that a bullet couldn't solve if there was just fire a few more. But then they found something was wrong. After the shot, the door remained intact. Bulletproof, one of them exclaimed in surprise. Bang, bang, bang. Several shots followed in quick succession, but they were still unable to open the supermarket's front door. Kid, where's the key? The one-eyed man poked the back of Yichu's head with the shotgun and questioned him. Do you know that I hate it when others point guns at me? Yichu replied coldly, what if I point at you? I will keep pointing at you. The one-eyed man snarled. Hurry up and open the door for me. Yichu let out a cold laugh and walked over. With a gentle push, the door actually opened. The door is pushed, not pulled. How can you pull it open? The group was instantly left speechless. They then streamed in one after another. When they saw the neatly arranged and plentiful supplies inside, they immediately screamed and pounced. Haha, Boss Matai and Dazhonghua. One of them excitedly pointed at the luxury cigarettes and liquor behind the counter. With so much stuff, it will last us for years, the one-eyed man muttered in disbelief. Then he shouted loudly to everyone, brothers, we will live here from now on. Call all the other brothers from the base over in a few days. Oh, great. The group cheered excitedly, but soon they realized something was wrong. As they prepared to grab the items on the shelves, they found they couldn't lift them at all. The items seemed to be glued down, refusing to budge. What is going on here? Why can't we take these? The group questioned in confusion. Kid, what is going on? The one-eyed man in anger pointed the shotgun at Yichu's head again. Boss, haha, there are 2 pretty girls here. Oh my, it's Meng Chiyuan, a star. Wow, I like her the most. I used to watch her videos. The group pounced like hungry wolves. Suddenly, Meng Chiyuan and Fong Xiaoyu were frightened and ran away. Kill them, Yichu said coldly. In the next moment, Jiang Sun nearby suddenly raised his gun. Bang, bang, bang. After a series of gunshots, those evolved ones who lunged at the 2 girls all fell to the ground. This was a semi-automatic sniper rifle capable of firing 10 bullets in one burst. Damn it, you're courting death. The one-eyed man raised the shotgun and smashed it down hard towards Yichu's head. But in the next moment, Yichu suddenly turned around and grabbed the one-eyed man's neck, tossing him away. Boom. The one-eyed man crashed into the wall, leaving a deep human-shaped dent in the surface. Now that was a proper slam against the wall. He couldn't even peel himself off. Yichu did not kill the one-eyed man. After all, he was the leader of a base. If he couldn't extract some benefits from him, wouldn't that be a loss? As for the others, Yichu glanced at them and snapped his fingers. Snap. After the snap, these people's heads exploded. They then collapsed to the ground as headless corpses. Within the supermarket, Yichu was truly invincible. Soon after, the ground rolled, and all the bodies and blood vanished without a trace. Jiang Sun beside him stared in shock at Yichu's methods, unable to utter a single word. Is this still the young master from back then? Jiang Sun's heart surged with waves, completely surrendering to Yichu's prowess. Then Yichu walked over and yanked the one-eyed man up. After waking him, Yichu smiled and said, I won't kill you. I'm a businessman. You can buy everything here with crystal cores or crystal coins. Why resort to violence to rob? Do you have crystal cores? The one-eyed man was so scared he couldn't speak, nodding his head like a chick pecking at rice. He then took out a space ring. Yichu's eyes narrowed, immediately prompting him to open it. It was a space ring about 3 square meters in size. Inside were many cigarettes, liquor, food, as well as 2 big boxes of crystal cores and a small box of crystal coins. Yichu had the system evaluate the items, and to his surprise, they were worth 20,000 energy points. You can lower the price to 20,000 energy points. Take a break, and when you want something later, just carry it out yourself, understood? I'm not going to kill you. The one-eyed dragon still did not believe it. However, Yichu ignored him. After some time, the one-eyed dragon finally recovered some of his injuries. Seeing that Yichu was indeed not pursuing responsibility, he tentatively picked up a bottle of drink nearby. To his astonishment, he found that the items listed could actually be lifted. Could it be that everything he said was true? The one-eyed dragon silently speculated. Then he stood up and continued to take items from the shelf. He even specifically chose the most expensive ones while keeping an eye on Yichu's movements. But then he suddenly noticed that Yichu was walking towards him. This frightened the one-eyed dragon, causing him to stop his actions immediately. Are you stupid? Can you carry so many things by yourself? You need to grab the high-end cigarettes and wines over there, follow me. Yichu then led the one-eyed dragon to the nearby armory. These items are what you need. Look at the prices, take them yourself. After saying this, Yichu left. The car parked at the entrance was loaded full by the one-eyed dragon all day. Yichu looked and saw that loading so many items only consumed 10,000 energy points. This isn't right. Yichu suddenly felt troubled. Then a bright idea struck him, and he took the one-eyed dragon to the nearby ancient script shop. Here a peerless manual costs over 100,000. Just taking one could suffice. Do you see? These are martial arts manuals. If you master them, you'll be more powerful than an evolver. As he spoke, Yichu demonstrated the power of the iron cloth technique to the one-eyed dragon. This immediately caught the one-eyed dragon's attention. Under Yichu's persuasion, he ultimately selected the 9-yang divine skill worth 100,000 energy points. Alright, go home and study hard. Yichu watched as the one-eyed dragon left. However, he could only drive one car. Yichu kindly suggested that he find someone to come back and carry the supplies. After the one-eyed dragon left the city, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. He never expected that Yichu would really let him go. In his moment of triumph, the one-eyed dragon took out the 9-yang divine skill. However, before he could turn to the first page, a gunshot rang out, and a bullet from 5,000 meters away pierced through his head. The pickup truck crashed into a nearby utility pole, and the one-eyed dragon was completely lifeless. Meanwhile, 5,000 meters away atop a building, Jiang Sen's eyes gleamed with golden light akin to those of a fiery-eyed beast. This was his supernatural ability, allowing him to see a butterfly 5,000 meters away. Moreover, the sniper rifle in his hands was specially manufactured with an effective range of up to 5,000 meters. Then Jiang Sen walked over to the pickup truck, severed the one-eyed dragon's head, and discarded the body before driving the pickup truck back. Yichu did this to evade the system's rules. The system stated that one could not operate using legitimate means. However, Jiang Sen was not Yichu's employee, so whatever he did had nothing to do with the system. In this way, the supplies were returned as they were, and Yichu made a significant profit. Young master, this is the one-eyed dragon's head. Upon returning, Jiang Sen handed over a cloth bag. Very good. Yichu nodded in satisfaction. Get ready, we're going to Yanchang City. Yichu instructed. Then Yichu took Jiang Sen directly into the armory. Leaving Jiang Sen outside, Yichu entered the hero-grade armory. Inside, Yichu helped Jiang Sen find a god of thunder, Barrett. In the CF game, the Barrett sniper rifle is considered the most powerful. This weapon, colloquially known as a cannon by players, is incredibly powerful. Furthermore, in the later stages of the CF game, many types of Barretts were developed. For instance, there are models like Songlong Destruction, and so on. The God of Thunder is one of them, and is also among the most powerful. As a hero-grade weapon, its attack power is higher than that of ordinary Barretts with a greater range. Additionally, it is lighter than other Barretts, and can hold up to 20 rounds. The Barrett is single-shot. Yichu took out the weapon enchantment book and found a level 2 enchantment. Level 2 enchantment, intermediate continuous fire, changes single-shot weapons to continuous fire, and increases firing speed by 20 energy consumption to 0. A level 2 enchantment costs 2,000 energy points. Yichu applied this continuous fire enchantment to the God of Thunder Barrett. Hero-grade weapons have many skills, but this skill cannot be quantified in reality. However, this God of Thunder Barrett has one unique passive skill. Thunder paralysis. Hitting a target paralyzes them for 3 seconds. Normally, a Barrett shot guarantees a kill if it hits. But in the current world, there are evolvers and mutated beasts. Many defensive type abilities exist, so the Barrett cannot ensure a one-shot kill. Yet, this paralysis skill grants the user the opportunity to shoot continuously. Holding the God of Thunder in front of Jiang Sen, he gazed at the uniquely designed Barrett that shimmered with lightning, his eyes sparkling. As a special forces soldier, Jiang Sen had a particular fondness for weapons. Young master, this is. Seeing Jiang Sen's fiery gaze, Yichu smiled slightly. This weapon is called the God of Thunder Barrett, and under my modifications, it now has a continuous fire function with a magazine capable of holding 20 rounds, shooting up to 1,000 meters. Upon hearing this, Jiang Sen excitedly extended his hands, ready to caress this super weapon. Of course, while the range is long in real combat, there won't be a 1,000-meter open field for you to utilize. I suspect your ability is an eye evolution, so this range should suit you. This weapon is even more powerful than the super weapons at the Beijing headquarters. Jiang Sen eagerly accepted the God of Thunder Barrett with both hands. His fascinated eyes and hands were as if he were caressing a beautiful woman. From today on, you are still you are Jiang Sen. Moreover, you are still my eagle eye. I hope you can help me eliminate all threats in the shadows. Yichu said with a serious expression. Yes, young master, Jiang Sen will not disappoint you. Following this, Yichu handed Jiang Sen the spatial ring of the one-eyed dragon. You can keep this ring. It'll also equip you with some handguns, submachine guns, bullets, and other consumables so you can fight better. Although the God of Thunder Barrett is considered light among Barretts, it still weighs dozens of pounds. Carrying it at all times would significantly affect mobility. By the way, young master, when shall we return? Jiang Sen suddenly asked. Return? Yi Chu smiled faintly. Everything here was built by my own hands, and this place is my world. For now I have no intention of returning. But the Elder Master is deeply worried about you. Jiang Sun spoke hesitantly. Is there any way to contact the Beijing Central Base right now? Each central base maintains satellite telephones for inter-base communication. If we could acquire one, we could reach the Elder Master immediately, Jiang Sun explained. Then it seems we must pay a visit to the Chang'an Central Base, Yi Chu murmured to himself. Shortly after, he retrieved a pickup truck and prepared to depart for Yanchang City. Both of you, stay indoors, understood? Under no circumstances are you to step outside unless absolutely necessary. Yi Chu solemnly instructed them before leaving. He also deployed his Sparrow Legion to circle overhead, ready to strike at the first sign of anomaly. The pickup rumbled along an abandoned highway. Since prior dealings with the Muyuan base had cleared the road, derelict vehicles lined both sides, until they crossed out of Yulin City's jurisdiction and entered Yanchang's territory, where the path grew treacherous. The asphalt was choked with rusted wrecks, the pickup ground to a halt. With no alternative, Yi Chu abandoned the vehicle. Consulting his map, he found the One-Eyed Dragon's base lay roughly 100 kilometers away. Not far at all, for Yi Chu possessed eagle wings, enabling swift aerial transit. Jiang Sun, however, lacked flight capability. A sudden inspiration struck, Yi Chu issued commands to nearby birds. He then seated Jiang Sun and Huodou upon their backs, allowing them to keep pace with his flight. Great bird, henceforth this man is your master. Do you understand? Yi Chu presented the great bird to Jiang Sun. As a sniper, Jiang Sun often required concealed vantage points, many of which were nearly inaccessible on foot. With this avian ally, however, he could ascend effortlessly to any elevated perch. Thus the trio, 2 men and 1 hound, advanced swiftly toward the One-Eyed Dragon's stronghold. It was a modest cave-based outpost nestled in the mountains. From above, over 100 guards patrolled the perimeter. How many survivors sheltered within remained unknown. Jiang Sun moved. Yi Chu gestured sharply. Jiang Sun scanned the terrain then, drawing upon years of battlefield intuition, quickly identified a perfectly concealed high ground position. Once Jiang Sun settled into position, Yi Chu descended toward the base. A 5-meter-high wall encircled the cave entrance. Hovering midair, Yi Chu raised his voice and roared inward. Those inside, look well. He produced the One-Eyed Dragon's severed head and hurled it forward. Is this your leader? The skull tumbled like a grotesque football. At the sight, the guards shrieked in horror. Our leader. It's really him. He's been slain. Quick, someone help. Chaos erupted among the 100-strong garrison. Soon evolved beings rushed to the scene. They were clearly the outpost's core enforcers. You killed our leader, demanded an elderly man, 60 or 70, with icy disdain. Indeed I did, Yi Chu admitted without hesitation. And who might you be? The old man asked, eyes fixed on Yi Chu hovering in the air. I am Yi Chu, the proprietor of Yi Chu General Store. You're Yi Chu? The elder recoiled in shock, then pressed on. Why did you slay our leader? I am a merchant. Not long ago, I enjoyed fruitful cooperation with Zhang Chang. Yet this reckless fool pursued my brother to Yulin City, then brandished firearms to extort my goods. Tell me, did he not deserve death? Oh, so you've come to pick a fight. The elder sneered. Yet you seem to have forgotten this is our base, and you stand alone. Or rather, you stand alone plus a dog. Open fire, kill him. With that command, the elder gave the order, and over 100 rifles blazed simultaneously. At that very instant, a bullet screamed from the shadows, shearing off the elder's head. Sniper. The other evolved beings instantly scanned their surroundings, alert and wary. I do not kill ordinary people, nor am I ignorant of the fact that others from allied bases reside here. Now, convey this message, let them dispatch representatives immediately to assume control. With that, Yi Chu waved his hand. A rapid volley of gunfire followed, each round striking with uncanny precision, felling every evolved being instantly. Even third-tier evolved beings fell, no match for the thunderous power of the lightning God-Barrett rifle. Yi Chu never lifted a finger, the entire cadre of evolved warriors perished utterly. Jiang Sun truly lived up to his epithet, Eagle Eye. Hear this, while those who wish to trade may seek me out, but those who covet easy plunder will watch their entire base bleed crimson. His voice echoed across the mountains, sending tremors through every civilian present. When Yi Chu departed, the name Yi Chu General Store had resounded throughout the entire Chang'an province. Round trip, the mission consumed only half a day. Upon returning, night had already fallen. Yet the moment Yi Chu entered the city limits, a sparrow darted down to report. Intruders. Yi Chu's brow furrowed. He signaled Jiang Sun, and the two slipped silently underground, racing swiftly toward the supermarket. Within the vast courtyard stood over 20 figures. Dozens of transport vehicles idled outside. Lifting his gaze, Yi Chu noted deep wounds and profound exhaustion etched across each face. as though they'd traveled a great distance. Our boss isn't here. Please leave, Meng Chiyuan declared from inside the store, speaking through the transparent glass window. Where has he gone? A woman's voice rang out. Yi Chu's brow tightened. That voice, why does it sound so familiar? Drawing nearer, he recognized her instantly. Du Bingyang, the same young woman he'd outwitted previously. Relief washed over him. Clearly she had returned to purchase the virus serum. He'd known she would. Her departure last time had carried that unspoken certainty. Well, a returning customer. Yi Chu stepped forward from behind. Jiang San held a pistol, eyes locked vigilantly on the group. Mr. Yi. Du Bingyang exhaled, in visible relief. You're here for the virus serum, aren't you? Yi Chu replied, then slipped past them into the store. For moments earlier he'd spotted a fourth-tier evolved being among the crowd. The youth appeared unervingly ageless, face ashen and still frame, gaunt eyes sunken and unblinking, fixated upon Yi Chu as if trying to excavate some hidden truth from his very soul. Yi Chu met that gaze, and his brow darkened once more.